Growing up in Kuwait, I was there for the invasion in 1990. I was about 7 years old. I stood on my roof and watched the Iraqi tanks roll in. We were there while the Iraqis were occupying the area. And so General Mattis at the time says, enough of this shit. We're not the hunted. We're the hunters. We're Marines. We don't do this shit. We don't get hunted by people, because that's effectively what was happening.
It was like the craziest, most patriotic American parade you ever seen on fucking steroids.
How can you, Mike, stand there and see the same thing, and your boy next to you sees the exact same thing, and he goes one way and you don't? I tell civilians right off the bat, like, I want you to walk away today kind of thinking like a serial killer. As human beings, we are predators, hands down. And not only that, but we're apex predators. Biologically, I'm not doing like motivation, like you're apex. I'm saying biologically, we're it. Go home and burglarize your own home. Go home and attack your own unit. In a stressful environment, you can only recall about 3 things. Stop trying to explain away other people's behavior. If you see something weird, stop going, oh, he's probably just so-and-so. I hear it all the time. It's like, stop. That's not your job to explain someone's weird behavior.
Welcome to Mic Drop, the podcast where relevancy is irrelevant and we don't give a shit about your feelings. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, it's both an honor and a pleasure to welcome my next guest to the podcast. He is a Kuwaiti-born Arab turned U.S. Marine, with which he spent 10 years on active duty. He's got 3 combat deployments, and while on one of those here in the Purple Heart, which we're going to get into, he is the founder of Emergence, which specializes in behavioral analysis and situational awareness, which is pretty applicable to everything that's going on in the country right now, which we're going to delve into pretty hard. He puts the anal back in behavior analysis, and he taught Jason Bourne how to fucking pay attention. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Yousef Badou.
Hey, thanks everybody. And Mike, thanks so much for having me. It's a fantastic intro you got there.
Yeah, well, I pride myself on starting out strong and going downhill from there. So we don't have much to look forward to. I appreciate you taking the time to come all the way here and do this in person. I know with everything that's going on COVID-19 wise, it's a bit of a challenge to do a lot of these interviews in person, which is why we haven't been able to turn a lot of episodes out lately. So I appreciate you taking the time and the pain in the ass that it is to travel right now. No
problem. I heard you wanted me to come out, so I was on the first thing smoking from California.
I appreciate that very much. I'd like to take a quick second to shout out and thank our sponsor for today's podcast, Origin Labs and Jocko Fuel. Jocko Fuel is a great product. He's got a ton of different products actually within the Jocko Fuel line that are phenomenal. The guests and I, enjoy them on the show. I do outside. I take a lot of the supplements. I've got some of the Origin Labs jeans, boots. They make skis. Just a really good, company that's all about American industry, and they do a fantastic job, really kind of revolutionizing American industry, from start to finish, all American made, all American sourced. Everything start to finish is all made right there in house, and they do a phenomenal job at creating the products and fulfilling in the whole ball of wax. They've been a consummate supporter of the Mic Drop podcast for a long time now, and I can't thank Jocko Fuel and Origin Labs enough for the job that they do for us. So thank you to you guys.
I'd also like to say thank you to our other sponsor, Resilience Premium CBD. Resilience is excited to offer all Mic Drop listeners a 20% off discount on all products for 2 weeks from when this podcast is live, using the discount code MicDrop at checkout. I'd also like to say that Resilience a great company that works in conjunction with Trico CBD, and all military veterans and first responders receive 35% off, and that's always through the military and first responders program. You just have to sign up to get verified at resilientcbd.com/military and first responder discount. In terms of about resilience, it's a premium CBD that I use. Again, it's works in conjunction with the Tricos brand for the everyday athlete. It's www.resilientcbd.com. And Resilience was born when its founders, who are U.S. military veterans as well, personally experienced the effects and impact that CBD had on their own mental and physical obstacles. The focus was sharper, mental stress was calmed, fitness stamina was increased, and their bodies felt less pain and inflammation after super intense workouts. A lot of times, most times, people are able to either wean off entirely or significantly reduce pain management therapy. And this shared vision among the founders was that this incredible supplement had not only changed their life, but had the power to provide unbelievable benefits to family, friends, athletes, fellow veterans, and ultimately the entire fitness community. So big shout out to Resilience for their product, as well as, again, the Trico stuff, and we appreciate their support.
As a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Honestly, I don't have that image in my head. I never really had it in my head that, I'm going to be an astronaut, I'm going to be this. But due to some circumstances, I think it kind of developed by itself. Because growing up in Kuwait, I was there for the invasion in 1990. I was about 7 years old, 7 years old. So I stood on my roof and watched the Iraqi tanks roll in. We were there while the Iraqis were occupying the area. I thought it was cool as hell. I was a little kid watching tanks roll in. Thought it was super cool. Didn't realize the situation at all. But I think that's what really started. Like, hey, I'm going to join the military. And also, family. We have a pretty proud tradition in our family, military service. So kind of melded.
That's crazy. For sure, we're going to get into what that was like and all that entails. But I'm really looking forward to hearing your perspective on that. What's your best injury story?
My best injury story? Well, since you busted me out right off the bat, I'll tell you it's the Purple Heart story. It's the most unheroic, like I've seen the guys you have on this podcast, Mike. Like I can't handle a flame, but I'll get a laugh at it. I was in a LAV. I was part of First Light Armored Reconnaissance Vehicle, and it's like a mini version of a tank with wheels. And this is OF2, and it was just a shit show. It was IEDs all day, every day. I mean, you remember we were out in Al Qaim and out west. And, we got blown up. I think 80% of the vehicles in our entire company had been blown up, and it was our turn in the barrel. And we'd been blown up before, but this was a good one. What happened is I didn't even get a blast injury. It had cleared out. They buried it too deep, basically. And they'd blown out all this earth from the vehicle. So this 28-ton LAV went boom, about 6 feet. Oh, shit. And I'm in the back in the scout hatch. So there's an ammo can kind of mounted to the turret right here. So I basically lawn darted, full lawn dart in this ammo can, busted my head, broke my nose, and gashed my Kevlar open. So that's my heroism.
That's good shit. I mean, it's nobody picks the circumstances with which you get that you get fucked up. So that is funny.
And this is OF2, so I will preface that. In RAO, in the Marine Corps, that situation, it was like Oprah. It's like, ooh, you get a Purple Heart, and you get a Purple Heart. Everybody, So.
Yeah. Is there a more ridiculous story of somebody getting one that you were with?
Oh God, yeah. You know how to ask the right questions, Mike. Oh, I don't even know if I should say this one, but.
I don't want to cheapen the Purple Heart.
No. Yeah, I know, I hear you, but we've been there and we know there's a lot of goofy stuff out there. I did remember one individual, I don't even know who it was, I can't remember the name, but this was during the invasion, and I just heard about it, and he'd shot a padlock, so like a master lock. So they're trying to breach this compound or whatever, and it's a master lock, so it's layered steel. And he decided that I'm going to stand about 4 or 5 feet back and shoot it with a 5.56. And so that worked out just like how you thought it was. It ricocheted, and he actually lodged a chunk of metal in his eyeball.
Really?
Yeah.
You got a Purple Heart?
Purple Heart.
See, so, I mean, to me, I don't know the guy, and I'm not trying to talk shit.
No, me neither. Look at my story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, I guess the way I see a Purple Heart is it should be at least enemy induced.
Yeah.
You know, like an IED as an example, like that to me that
Enemy induced. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Enemy
mean-
initiated something or other.
Yeah, I mean, if you know, if your own bullet ricochets off of an inanimate object that you're shooting and it hits you in the face, like to me that does kind of cheapen it. But maybe we'll get him on here and bust it.
Yeah, he'll get his digs in on me.
Yeah. Is there one thing that you can pinpoint that you love the most about America?
Oh man, that's a big question, especially right now. We're seeing it right now. We're seeing, you know, culture divide. And I don't want to go down because I'm no expert, but my opinion, what I see is you have the mentality of pointing fingers and kind of the victim mentality, and the other kind of thought, the forward motion, the all right, yeah, this is going to suck, but left foot, right foot, continue on. And, you know, we see that in the military, but I see, you know, the American population right now. I love that the can do, the I don't give a shit. Yeah, you're telling me everything's going bad, everything's going wrong. Still don't give a shit. Yeah. I'm still rocking and rolling here. You know, COVID sucks. You know, the politics suck. The things happening in our country, yeah, they all suck. But we're gonna get past this weak ass crap, no problem. You know.
Well, so I mean, to me, you have a very unique perspective that way, and that, you know, one of the interesting dynamics I think that exists in this country with how people, you know, perceive what's going on is it's pretty one-dimensional in that, you know, it's a very sheltered perspective, and they don't really have anything to contrast it to no fault of their own, of course. But you know, to me, somebody like you that you know, it's kind of like interviewing a black police officer or you know, somebody that kind of has a much more well-rounded perspective of, you know, what things are like in other places, or a contrast to provide to what's going on, to say, yes, you know, compared to what you're used to, this is bad, but realize that things could be a whole fuck of a lot worse. You know, enter Saddam rolling tanks into your fucking hometown, which again we'll get into. But so for sure, I want to talk more about that as we get into kind of what you do now. But that I love the answer. It's and I appreciate it. What's your favorite food here in the U.S.?
Ooh, my favorite food. You know what? This is actually kind of interesting. So I'm an Arab. My name is Yousef. I get a rental car with Florida plates, and I'm driving through McKinney, Texas. So what do you think I go hit? Barbecue? No. Crawfish? No.
If you're gonna say what?
Shawarma house, brother.
No shit.
Shawarma house, and it was fantastic. You know, it was probably I should have weighed my options a little bit better, but it was great. Shawarma house in Dallas area, fantastic.
Yeah, that's fucking great. So not exactly a traditional American food, but I dig it.
So let me add to that, if I can sneak it in before I get on the plane today. I'm coming here for Texas barbecue and crawfish. There's a crawfish place 14 minutes away.
Yeah.
So
amen. Rock and roll. I love it. What's the worst place on earth you've ever been?
Worst place on earth? That's easy. Okinawa, Japan.
Really?
Hands down. Actually, I can get more specific if you'd like. The northern training area, the central and northern training area. Yeah. God awful. You know, what's that movie, Avatar? You know, that's Pandora out there. Everything's trying to kill you or poison you. It's foul.
Yeah, I've never been to Okinawa. We floated past it a couple of times during some of my time on ship, but that's interesting. What is your morning routine? And this is, you know, given a day where you're not traveling, just at home, kind of normal routine.
So I used to do it like the Marine Corps, just get up and, you know, turn and burn, right? You know, I really, as having a business, you can't afford that. You got to have some strategy to the day to tactics. So I wake up, first thing I do, check emails, you know, it's just eat the frog, get it done with. That's the worst part of my day. So it's like knock it out right off the bat. And then I take probably about 2 hours to myself, you know, walk the dog, walk around, and I'll listen to kind of audiobook. You know, mornings I like to keep it kind of light, like whatever it is, kind of mentality. And then right in the middle of a walk, I'll turn on like Hell's Bells or whatever and just start getting ready for the day. So that's a 2 hour period where I'm doing nothing but me, getting ready for the day, hit work about 9 o'clock, and then I'm rested, ready to go, did something fun,
Do you not eat or work out in that 2-hour period?
I
walk.
I walk a lot. My knees are shot, so I don't do much running anymore, cardio. But I walk probably 3, 4, 5 times a day. My brain races, so my thing, everyone's got their thing, is walking.
Yeah.
So my wife knows when I'll just stand up and pull the mic off and go, I'm going for a walk, and she's like, okay, whatever,
Yeah. What kind of dog do you have?
Oh God, yeah, you guys are gonna kill me, man. So understanding your show, I have a Cavachon. It's a Cavalier and a Bichon. It doesn't get more foo-foo than this, Mike. Actually, it does. Let me go further. This does get more foo-foo. My wife got this dog on deployment, my second deployment, and it's a boy dog. She named it Muffin. So all you listeners out there know my dogs. You listen to Mike and his killer dogs, but Mike.
So I'm imagining you with your brain racing, going through your morning routine, walking a Cavachon male named Muffin while listening to Hell's Bells.
Yep, that's literally what happens, and I will peel someone's skull back for that dog.
Is the Hell's Bells, is that like a compensation for?
Call it
while you're walking.
Call it whatever you want. I make sure everyone knows I'm listening to Hell's Bells.
Yeah. Fucking step walking while you're doing it.
Yeah.
All right. So I like to get right into the childhood. Obviously, you have a more unique childhood, I think, than most of the guests in terms of where you grew up and kind of what that was like. I really want to spend some time on that.
Sure.
Talk about, when you were born and that first, 10 years of your life and what that was like growing up in Kuwait.
Yeah. So I'm half Kuwaiti, half American. So my mom's American, my dad's Kuwaiti. Because of laws and whatever, I didn't get naturalized. Everyone thinks like, oh, Yousef, naturalized, where'd you come? They think I'm a refugee half the time. I swear I went to a church group one time. They thought I was a refugee there from a mission. I was like, no. So I was born a citizen. I came out American and I came out a Kuwaiti at the same time. In my house, my dad was Kuwaiti. We spoke Arabic to my dad, and we spoke English to my mom.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and that's completely normal. Like, Kuwait is a really weird area. I'm sure you've been there, but where they put us is the boondocks. It's way out in the middle of nowhere. And there's a ton of American and British that live there. So coming to my house, if you'd never been, you'd watch me have a conversation with my mom and my dad and me. I'd speak to my dad in Arabic. He'd speak back to me in Arabic. My mom would jump in English to him. He'd respond to her, and like my friends were like, "What the hell is going on?"
So your parents would talk to each other in their respective language.
Yeah, my mom's born from Joplin, Missouri.
Yeah.
She doesn't get more American than that, and she can speak better Arabic than most linguists I've ever run into.
So she would speak English to your dad, and your dad would respond in Arabic.
Yep.
Did they ever cross over into?
Yeah, you do the pidgin Arabic. It's like Spanglish. You throw in words here and there, and it just kind of muddles.
Yeah, that's a fucking trip.
Yeah,
that's wild. What was the dynamic in your house like in terms of siblings, what your parents did for a living, and just kind of the overall feeling of what it was like growing up there?
Yeah, so one brother, one sister, both older. They got great families, beautiful families. My mom was a teacher for a long time. She volunteered for a lot of stuff. My dad was actually a flight engineer. So I'm not sure on it, but there used to be 3 guys in a cockpit of a 747. Now there's only 2. So he was a pilot too, but he was also an engineer, and he retired from Kuwait Airways actually.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, growing up, it was travel was, I grew up traveling. So that component.
Was it mostly outside of Kuwait?
Oh yeah, hell yeah. No one stays in Kuwait, bro.
Yeah. Would you go all over, or where would you go?
My family would go to the States. The ritzy Kuwaitis, they'd go to like France, crazy places. But we had my mom's side of the family all in the States. So every summer, so check this out. So I'd live in Kuwait. I grew up there, but every summer, the entire summer, I'd be in Michigan, back with my mom's side of the family. And then, again, more dynamics.
Yeah. Would your dad accompany you back, or was it just you?
My dad came to the States a few times, but it was usually just me, my mom, and the kids, or my brother and sister.
Yeah. In terms of in your household, both in Kuwait and was it Michigan or Missouri?
Yeah, Michigan.
So she was born in Missouri, but you guys.
Yeah, she was born. Yeah.
But in terms of kind of the dynamic in the household, was politics ever brought up? Did you talk about the United States, about the U.S. government versus Kuwaiti government? Like, was there? Because it seems like nowadays even kids are far more aware of and involved, even if it's, mostly conditioned by their parents' politics. It seems like it's a much bigger part of kids' lives today, because I think we're just so inundated with it between social media, 24-hour news, et cetera. But being, kind of a mixed bag of, half Kuwaiti, half United States, was there much talk of that growing up?
So not much talk within the household, Mike. Again, I was younger, but let me just give you this analogy. This is good. It's not an analogy, it's a real thing. Independence Day, in Kuwait is still a thing. When Kuwait got liberated by who? America. You won't see this in the news. You won't hear it in the news media. You'll never read it. But you go to Independence Day this year, last year, there's still American flags. They'll put up American flags all over the place, a big parade, and you won't see it.
I've actually been there. I was in Kuwait during Independence Day. This was 2000. What was it? 2002.
Yeah, just nuts or what?
Yeah, it was early 2003, I guess. But yeah, it was fucking crazy. Yep. It was awesome. I mean, honestly, it was.
Seeing an American flag in an Arab country, did that kind of
not on fire or being
not being stomped on.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the neatest experiences I've ever been a part of, in that we were there. I was on active duty. We were there, for military purposes, and to see it was like the craziest, most patriotic American parade you ever seen on fucking steroids. Yep. And I mean, people would
5,000 miles away.
Yeah, and I mean, people would mob our vehicles. Thank you. Women kissing the windows. I mean, it was just like God bless America. We love America. Just all sorts of positive chants, and we were all just looking around like, holy fucking shit. Yeah, like this doesn't even happen where we're from. And especially when you contrast that now with how much bullshit goes on that just makes your fucking blood boil, or makes a lot of people's blood boil, myself included. Knowing what this country's done, the expectation of being perfect, I think is a problem, which we'll get into. But yeah, it was such a fucking neat experience to be able to see an Arab country celebrating America with such fanfare. It was an awesome experience. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's we got long memories, man.
Yeah,
my mom volunteered for the USO. Every Thanksgiving we had soldiers. We'd always have soldiers because they'd be stationed in Doha. So every Thanksgiving, my mom would do a spread and invite 8 or 9 soldiers to my house. That's what I was growing up with, and that's common amongst a lot of during that time frame. That was a thing. Host a soldier's family.
Yeah. So with that, I guess growing up, was there I guess a contrast in perception between any of your Kuwaiti friends that had traditional, both parents are Kuwaiti, versus what it was like in your house? I mean, was there kind of almost like a black sheep because you're half American, or like, I guess before the invasion? I'm sure that opinion probably shifted post, but
Kuwait's a really weird country, man. It's very very westernized, and honestly, it's so I went to the American School of Kuwait. There was a British School of Kuwait, American School of Kuwait. There are Americans everywhere because of the Army and because of the State Department, So there's a whole community of Americans that live there. So yeah, maybe pre-invasion, maybe, but nowadays there's tons of these families that have, it's crazy. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed, Sharon from, Texas, and she'll be head of household. She'll run stuff for like the Sabah. I know some of the royal family I went to school with. Their moms, American, just like my mom. They hang out and have tea. So it's not that it's super weird. Not your normal.
It's not traditional Arab in terms of the rest of the region. Yeah,
not at all.
What in terms of playing sports or hobbies, things like that you did growing up there? What was that like?
I did track and field. I was a sprinter. Did that for a while. And as a funny hobby, as I was a kid, I think this goes to what we're talking about, the military just kind of thrusting me towards you. There was a campground that they took all the tanks to after the war. I drove in the highway to hell, when I was like 7 or 8 years old. My dad was like a tourist. I saw that, when I was a kid. And they took all these tanks there. So that's what we do on the weekends. I'd beg my mom to go play on these, like I'd be on an Iraqi or a Russian like AAA gun, like moving the wheel.
Let you just go play with that shit?
Oh, and it gets better too. So I played that game for like 2 years, and they had everything. Their tanks and whatever T-62s. And then one year they just went away. They just disappeared. And I'm like, Mom, where are the tanks? They're like, I don't know. And then come to find out, we're getting rid of those because we shot a lot of them with depleted uranium.
Well, yeah.
So, I've been running around DP rounds my whole childhood. Yeah.
So here in America, a kid falls off of a playground and sprains their wrists, and they tear the whole fucking thing down. Yeah. In Kuwait, you're hanging out on fucking depleted uranium.
It's like, hey, I got a live shell.
Oh, it's a fucking trip. All right, so you spent summers in Michigan, the rest of the year in Kuwait. At what point did you said, I think you mentioned you were 7 years old. Talk about what that was like, I guess, during the invasion and the impact that had on you and your family.
Yeah, I remember distinctly my dad walking in, and there was already kind of talk of it apparently. And again, I'm super young, so I remember snatches of this. And I remember my dad walking in and said, "Yep, we're going to war." And it was like old school World War II newspaper that said war. It was the Arab Times. And I was like, I didn't know. That happened. So the invasion happened. We were there occupied while they were occupying. And they made a rule. They said, if you're American, get the hell out. Now, you can leave. You're okay, but you got to fly through Baghdad. If you're Kuwaiti, you stay. So my dad had to stay. And it was just like, all right.
Did your mom leave?
Yeah. She had me and my brother and sister are 12, 11 or something at the time. So she took me and we dipped out, and literally flew into Baghdad, left my dad. He had to stay, flew into Baghdad International. God damn. Yeah. And there was,
that's sketchy in and of itself. Like I'm sure as a 7-year-old, you think nothing of it, but now it's like, fuck you. I'm not flying through Baghdad. Like,
so a guy stopped, we're going to my mom tells me this, a guy stopped, as we're getting to the gate, a Iraqi soldier stops my mom and looks at my brother. He's tall. He's like 14 or something like that, but he's tall. And he looks Arab. And he's like, nope, he's Kuwaiti. He ain't going nowhere. He's staying here in Iraq. And my mom was about to claw his face off when they actually did a story on this. I could probably find the guy's name. He was a reporter from like CNN, stepped over the barrier. And he stuck a mic in this guy's face. He's like, you mean to tell me you're not letting American citizens through this gate? Yeah. And this little Iraqi was probably like 5 foot. And he's just like, go on, never mind, go ahead. So Jesus. That's how close that got.
Wow.
And again, I had no idea what was going on. I was like, hey, we're at the airport.
So before that happened, did you see them start to invade? Is that where?
Yeah, when we, that day happened, and then it was I can't remember how much longer, but the part of Kuwait we were in, the area, there was a major highway right there, and literally here are the tanks coming. AAA, remember all 1990 watching the night vision AAA fire? Mm-hmm. That's what I was watching that night.
Really?
Except no night vision, obviously. Yep.
What was it just that day? So, did you see them start to invade and you guys left the next day?
No, it was a couple weeks. We were there for a couple weeks hiding in the house.
What was that like?
I honestly don't remember. Again, I was a kid. I thought it was playtime, but things got more real when we started to leave. And I think my mom maybe purposely didn't tell me a lot or didn't tell us a lot because I don't remember much, so I don't remember leaving my dad. So I'm wondering maybe my mom just get in the car, we're going for a trip, so.
Was there, I know you were young, maybe you don't remember, was there not a feeling or some sense that something was wrong that you were getting from your parents, or did they do a pretty good job at
They did great, Mike, because honestly, man, again, maybe it's my brain, the way I was wired. I thought it was a laugh riot. I thought it was. I saw the tanks. I'm like, this is so cool. But again, maybe they they sheltered us a little bit mentally. But we got smuggled out by Canadians. They picked us up in a van. Everyone loves Canadians,
Yeah,
Yeah, right. So that's how we ended up getting out of there. But yeah, it was good times, My dad arrived, we came back after that, and it was, I went to first grade in Michigan for a year when we left, and then after the war was over, we went back,
What was that like coming back?
A lot of stuff was trashed. The oil fires, that black smoke was everywhere. You could see just, battlefield type stuff, trash, whatever. I have no idea why my dad decided to do this, but he said the highway to hell, if no one's ever heard of the highway to hell, it's where the Iraqis tried to flee our Air Force when they were leaving back to Iraq, and we just smeared them. It was, I don't know how many miles of just death and destruction. And my dad's like, hop in, everyone, we're going to go check out the highway to hell. And like, yeah, it was nuts. It was just, you know, a lot of damage.
So you saw that as a just finished first grade.
Yep.
Yeah.
Coming back. Yep.
Obviously, your dad was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you talk to him much upon return or subsequently about what it was like that year that he was there without you guys?
Yeah, there's a few stories there. They actually came to the house. Iraqis came to the house, and it's a little vague, but I think he thought of. I think they came in the house and he'd locked himself in the room. Or they locked him in. I can't remember, but they left him alone. They stole like a toaster and, you know, ran VCRs and things like that, and they left. So that's about as close. And an interesting thing, my mom had a story and my grandma had a story about, you know, you think about the Republican Guard, you know, these Iraqis were conscripted. They just got dumped in there with no food, no water, you know, and for the most part. And yeah, there's a lot of bad, horrible stuff happened, obviously, but my mom would tell me a story of this Iraqi soldier in a market. This is while they had invaded, and we're still waiting to out. She's getting like stuff to eat, and there's an Iraqi soldier standing there with a bag of bread and some cheese, and he's not walking up to the counter, and everyone's kind of staring at him, you know, and he's just standing there waiting. And my mom gets done, she's watching him. He waits till everyone leaves, and he walks up to the register, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I don't have any money. Like, we haven't eaten in like a couple of days. I'm just gonna take this." And they're like, "Oh yeah, man." You know?
Oh, shit. Like he was polite about it.
And then my grandma had one where a guy, same thing, a soldier knocked on the door, and you know, my grandma comes up. She goes, "Yeah, can I help you?" He's like, "I'm sorry," and he's got like a fire team behind him. He's like, "Hey, can we have some like water or anything?" Like, and she like starts shaking her finger. She's like, you okay, come on." You know, just give him water, you know.
Because I mean, it's an interesting you know, perspective or dynamic to hear about it, because you know, I've read and seen video and heard a lot about, you know, the exact opposite, you know, primarily in Kuwait City, and
Yep.
You know,
A lot of bad stuff happened.
Yeah, I mean, people getting thrown off fucking spires and
hung and killed. Yeah,
I mean, all sorts of nasty shit. So you know, I'm curious. Was that? It sounds like, or I'm assuming that was probably more like the Fedayeen guys and
exactly,
you know, more of Saddam's kind of hand-picked assholes that went and brutalized everything. But from the Kuwaitis' perspective, growing up there, you know, what was kind of the overall damage assessment done? I know it was a lot, but I mean, how big of an impact did that have on the country, you know, in the following years? Good
Lord, that's a big number, man. I know so a couple of things. The oil fires, I mean, those burned for 10 years.
Yeah.
They burned forever. Those are part of my life, you know, going back, and there's still a ring. It's 6, 7 in the morning, you'll see a black ring show up. And the environmental cost, you know, an oil fire burning for a year, you know, that's huge. Mines, I remember distinctly being in second grade back in Kuwait, and just like IED strikes, you'd hear, and, you know, teacher would be like, "Calm down," you know, and if they were doing the eradication of the mines, because I guess they mined everything.
Yeah.
So that for a couple of years was normal. So being in a fob and hearing an IED go off, you know.
It was a trip down memory lane.
Yeah. Mom's cooking.
What kind of cultural impact did that have on you guys growing up in terms of, you know, just whether it was things taught at school or, you know, conversations between you and classmates, and kind of how that shaped the next few years? Was there a lot of talk of it? Was it one of those things where, oh, we don't talk about that, or what was that kind of like?
No, I mean, everyone kind of went through it, so it's not like we would, I don't know, maybe talk about it. Every once in a while we'd bring something up. But for me personally, I think I got exposed at a very young age, PTSD. Like, how can you, Mike, stand there and see the same thing, and your boy next to you sees the exact same thing, and, you know, he goes one way and you don't.
Yeah.
And my theory for me personally is conditioning. You know, I saw war young, saw the military. So what we were talking about before, like, there's a lot of horrible things that happen in the rest of the world. So I think that's kind of framed my life. It's like, yeah, that sucks, but this could be a lot worse, you know?
Yeah, no, I got you. At what point did you make the transition to move to America and decide, you know, I want to be a Marine?
Yeah. This is about summer of '98. And my brother and sister, they'd been off to college, so my mom and me I went to go to high school in Kuwait, in Michigan. So moved to Michigan with my mom, went to high school out there. Didn't do that great, skipping, basically told, hey, you might not graduate.
Yeah.
So
you're getting the full American high school.
Full American, full American, bro. I like to say I did college in high school, and so at that point I had to make a decision, and I didn't seen a military academy. I actually volunteered. I don't know what else to think, but I volunteered for this military academy. It was the best thing I probably ever did. But they kicked my ass for about a year, physically, not push-ups, like
beat the shit out.
Okay, I'll take you in the shower room and punch you in the chest. You learn real quick. This is in Michigan, and so I leave the academy and I go to boot camp, Marine Corps boot camp. So they put hands on you in Michigan, and I got to boot camp, and it's like,
can't touch you.
Yeah, I only got to do this 15 minutes. You can't punch me. I'm like, all day, baby, all day. So in the academy, I had a great mentor, Staff Sergeant Donaldson, who's a former Marine drill instructor, and so that just colored me. I knew I was military, but I saw this guy, and I was like, that's done. Big, huge black guy, about 6'3", and he was an asshole, complete asshole. But it's one of those guys where you look back and you go, damn.
That's what you need.
Yeah, I needed that. At that point, I needed it.
Yeah.
And enlisted in the Marine Corps from there.
That's good shit. What was the response from your family in deciding to do that? Were they supportive? Were they?
I'm pretty sure it was more subdued than I got.
Yeah.
It was always kind of on the table. Again, being a family, my grandpa was in World War II in the Navy, and great grandfather. So my mom was very proud of my service. But I joined in August, or I came in August 2002. And then I remember being in boot camp, and the guy shot somebody. I remember Philica Island. They killed like two Marines.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kuwaiti did it.
Oh, no shit.
And I'm sitting in dental in boot camp. I'm like, Kuwaiti shoots 2 Marines. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But that's when the invasion pretty much kicked off. So I'm sure I know there's worry. But I think it's something they held back.
Yeah. So overall, was there a disparity between your mom and your dad, given the disparity in their backgrounds, or were they both pretty well on board with it?
No, they're on board. And my mom was like very, I love you, son. You're 18.
Yeah.
Fuck
out. Yeah. Here's luggage.
Yeah. Here you go. I'll drop you off wherever you want. No, she wasn't that bad, but she was very. She helped me build resilience and go, all right, cool. What are you going to do next? Because next
step. You're not
step.
fucking staying here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was the? I know the boot camp experience in comparison to the academy you went to was, relatively easy by all measures. But what was that? The goal, I guess, in joining? Like, what did you want to do beyond just serving your country? Like, what was kind of the thought process?
Yeah. So let's rewind. Really solidified. Our close to our generation. I was in 10th grade in high school when 9/11 happened. I was in CAD class. I was in first period, sitting there and watching it happen. And, like a lot of us at that time, that really spurred it. And, being the Marine Corps infantry, it's like, there it is.
Did religion play a role, having a mixed cultural background that way?
Not really.
Growing up? No,
again, Kuwait's pretty secular. They're pretty, you obviously have your, religious people and your non-religious people, but in our household, not really.
Did you grow up Muslim or Christian?
None.
Neither?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, I just kind of did my own thing.
Are either of your parents of a certain faith?
Yeah, they're religious, yep. Mm-hmm.
In those both?
Yes.
So your dad's Muslim, your mom's Christian?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting discussion at Christmas maybe, or Ramadan. Like, you didn't celebrate either of those?
No. So I had Christmas. I grew up with Christmas in the morning, and we had Ramadan too. I wasn't really good at Ramadan. I didn't really do it. Here's the thing, Mike. Like, you're asking me, it's so like, I don't know. Kuwait's a very interesting place. It's so nonchalant. It's so like, it doesn't fit at all.
It's like the one place in the Middle East where that takes place.
Yeah. It's like Ramadan. We can't eat, till sundown. No, but don't eat in front. It's like, or it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I remember getting the briefs in Ramadan, Iraqi. Obviously, you don't want to do it, but it's like, guys, it's not that. They're like, no, they'll burn the fob down. They're taking us all out if we. It's like, not really that big of a deal.
Yeah. God, that's such an interesting dynamic. Mm-hmm. All right, so when 9/11 happened, what was your parents' response to that? I guess was there any talk within your household, was there any kind of perspective that's maybe different from the American perspective, given it was kind of a different situation?
Honestly, when that happened, that really, because this is 10th grade, so that kind of solidified it for me. So we didn't really talk about it much because I was on the direction, and it just kind of became a conversation. Like, what are you going to do in the Marine Corps? Kind of that nature. Yeah. So we skipped the part about where I'm going to go to combat. It's just like, oh, what are you going to do? So that's what I remember. And from, obviously high school, from when I got out to academy to boot camp, there was like a month and a half in between. So I wasn't home that much.
Yeah, I got you. And what was your goal in terms of when you joined? What did you want to ultimately do in the Marines?
I wanted to do my 4 years. I wanted to serve, I love the military. I was very open. I didn't get to the end of my Marine Corps time and I was like, F this and F that, screw the Marine Corps. I wasn't. I love the Marine Corps. I mean, a lot of bad, horrible stuff happened to me there, but a lot of fantastic stuff happened to me. I met my wife there, Yeah. So I like that. And I did my 4 years, and I wanted to do either MSG or Het guys because of my Arabic. Long story short, I got to renounce my citizenship before they'll even look at me for a clearance.
Can you talk a little bit about MSG and just for the listener that doesn't understand?
Yeah, so the Marine Corps, the Marine Security Guard program, I think they call it, MSG program. It's a special kind of unit where you actually go and guard all the embassies all over America, nuclear facilities, things of that nature. So that's actually, I don't think they do nukes. I think MSG is just embassies. Yeah. I think they're just embassies. So kind of cool. You get stuck in crappy places, but you can get interesting places. And then the HET team, the human exploitation teams, those are basically your intel guys, your interrogators. They'll go out, these are the guys, they're not writing reports. I mean, they're doing that, but they're out in the field with you. They're going on the rage with you, and they're picking that stuff. And so that was a natural progression. It's like, I've done the infantry stuff. I had 3 combat tours. We made a joke earlier. I wanted to go on a ship, Mike. Yeah. I've never even seen a ship. Everyone's like, oh, you're not missing out. It's like, well, the other one was pretty crappy.
Yeah. So it's no Carnival cruise, I'll tell you that. But in those 3 combat deployments, anything you want to share, from your time there, any significant stories or, things that you kind of took away from that environment?
There's a ton,
I guess one of the things I'm curious of is in being fluent in Arabic. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine your guys didn't lean on you pretty heavy with that, right? I mean, what was that like? I mean, you're essentially a Terp. I know we had, Terps, filtering in and out and whatever, but what was that like being from Kuwait, being fluent in Arabic and fighting in a country next door against, people that you're closer to, culturally than any of us were?
Same tribe.
Yeah. What was that like?
Yeah, it was, it was interesting. And you said, they leaned on me. That's a polite word for it. They got their 10 pounds of flesh out of my butt. It was interesting. Right? It's a whole different perspective where someone who doesn't speak Arabic, they just have the infantry exterior. I'm here to do a mission. You don't have access to that information, that rapport or anything. So you're just operating like, all right, don't step on IED. Don't get killed. Don't get Marine shield. Take out the enemy. But when you open yourself up, a lot of stuff happens. So I was doing my infantry stuff, but obviously they'd grab me. And here's the thing, Mike, I'm a really crappy Arabic speaker. English is my first language. My mom probably speak better Arabic than me. I'm crappy. I know gutter slang Arabic. There's like the proper Arabic and I know gutter stuff. So they'd get...
So TikTok Arabic.
TikTok Arabic, enough to get my ass kicked, But here's the thing, 70% of the Iraqis are illiterate. They speak the same thing I do, what we spoke in my home in Kuwait. So I remember a DLI, you go to the Defense Language Institute, you learn Arabic for over a year, and they fly them out there. And I remember this captain is like, oh, I got this. I'm like, okay, sir, you got this. And he talked to just some random guy, and he's looking at me going, what the hell is he saying? He just got there, and I'm like, this is Iraqi. He's speaking like the Queens, and the Iraqi guys going, what the hell? So they'd always be like, Badou, come here. I'm like, right. So I wasn't even a Cat 1 linguist or anything. They had these people. Like one guy, I don't know, he was very, they didn't like working with him. Way better. He's like college level Arabic. And they'd call me and be like, I'm like, that's a better job for him, man. It's like, but I can't stand this guy. I want you to come here.
I'm curious, because, nonverbal communication and body language plays such a huge role in what you do now. Mm-hmm. What were the the cues and the similarities, and how much of that did you pick up from, you know, interacting with people? Because it's one thing to speak the same language and be able to verbally understand somebody, but, you know, as you well know, and I take a lot from dog training that way, because it's all nonverbal, or largely nonverbal, is how big of a role did that play in aiding your ability to actually, you know, interpret things and communicate, you know, that way?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple examples. So we had a couple funny ones we do. I called this one I don't remember what I called it, but like the dumb American, you know. And I'd walk around. You could tell a Terp a mile away. Iraqis could tell a Terp a mile away because they got the old flak on. They got no weapon. They look like a bag of shit, you know. Yeah. So I'd walk up with my, you know, Marine stuff, looking like a Marine. I'm like, hey, mister, cigarette? You got to smoke, bro? You got to smoke? And he, you know, do stuff like that. And if he's with somebody, you know, they'd, you know, start talking around like, oh, look at this idiot, you know. Yeah. And I'm, you know, I don't care what they say.
Fucking awesome.
I just do it to probe them. And then, you know, if nothing was up, in Arabic, I'd be like, you know, shukran habibi, and I'd walk away, and they're like, oh, what the hell was that, you know?
Yeah.
For my third tour, I did a security detail for the battalion commander. I was on the jump for the battalion commander, and this was his idea. So we'd have the, you know, the exterior perimeter, and we'd have me and this other sergeant that were on the colonel, and he'd bring me in the meetings, and we'd keep our armor on. He'd drop his armor, get into, you know, goat gripping mode, and he'd want me to watch and listen. And he's like, I don't want anyone letting them know Yousef's or interpreter. They wouldn't know who I was, and I'd just be, you know, the bodyguard. And, you know, every once in a while he'd be like, is that what he really said? Or he'd use me to check a terp. This happened a lot. Where he'd have a terp, and like, say someone's pissed, and like I'm effing you, I'm yelling at you, and I need the terp to say that. So he'd say something, and the colonel would be like, did he really say it? I'm like, no. And he'd be like, tell him again. So things like that. Just picking up little bits of information.
Were there any times where you did the dumb American, and then they'd start talking, and you picked things up that and then you let them know, and they're like, oh shit, you know?
Nothing kinetic, nothing combat related. It was mostly just talking crap about me. You know? That was the most part. But we do things like, I did this a lot when it did happen. Randomly would happen, but we'd raid, and the phone would ring. Yeah. The house phone. And I'd run over to that thing and be like, what's up, bro? What's up, man? And he'd be like, you know, hey, man, there's something going on over there. And I'm, you know, I don't know, are you breaking up? Hey, come over here, let me talk to you.
Yeah. God, it's fucking funny, man. Anything of note happen in those 3 deployments that really, you know, changed your life, whether it was, you know, things you saw, things you did, you know, were there any hugely impactful moments that you can share? Hugely
impactful. I mean, it really steered my life to where it is. I mean, just like a lot of us, I think. Here's one. I mean, that's a big question, Mike, but here's one while I'm on your podcast, I want to say to everybody, the vets out there that might be dealing with this stuff, what I've taken away from my time in combat. So I did my 3 combat tours. I was a Marine. I try to compartmentalize that. I go, that was what I did during that time. OF 1, 2, whatever it was, crazy story. And that was wild. I learned a lot of stuff. You know, it was sad. It was, you know, crazy, whatever. You know, it kind of shaped who I am. But now I own a business. So it's not like I'm not proud or I'm letting that go. But all those combat experiences, you know, I don't need those front of mind for me. So I enjoy it. You know, it is who I am, but I really try not to dwell on it because I got other shit to do. Yeah, I need to move forward, you know.
It's an interesting perspective. I know this is maybe a little outside the realm of most of what we're talking about, but I think it's important and relevant for anybody that's been through something that continues to impact them. It's something that I talk with my kids about. I talk with you know, people, whether they, you know, message me on social media or whatever, for the ones that I am able to get back to it and what have you. But it to me, it kind of speaks to your point earlier when I asked you, you know, what you love most about America is a mentality, is the non-victim mentality. And I think, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, professionals that are in the realm of psychology, psychiatry, et cetera, I think would beg to differ. Some of it, I think, is motivated by the fact that they want a fucking job. But I agree with you in that, you know, no matter what has happened to you, it's not to say that you ignore it or, you know, that you forget about it or whatever. But, you know, I think that for a lot of people, they struggle with being able to do that. With, you know, again, it's not even necessarily of letting it go permanently. It's letting it go in terms of it negatively affecting you day to day. And I think, you know, ultimately that is a fucking choice.
Yep.
I mean, I really do think that, and people may think, well, you don't fucking know, depression's real, and like, I'm not saying it's not.
No, not at all. No.
But you know, how you choose to let things affect you is absolutely a fucking choice. It's not an easy one, you know. I mean, no different than if somebody punches you in the fucking face. You know, how you respond is still your choice.
Yep.
You know, it may be really hard to let that go. You maybe want to fucking curb stomp them. You know, or somebody threatens your family. Like, yeah, that's something that most people are going to take pretty fucking serious and not going to let it go. But ultimately, all of those things are choices. And for the love of fuck, you know, this isn't me saying I have control over my emotions every second of every day. But,
God, no, not even close.
But I do think that, you know, to your point, I think that's a big lesson for a lot of people that I think is an important one to try to implement into your life, which is, you know, the ability to not let things, you know, dictate your life moving forward, you know, no matter what happened to you. And because you hear that a lot, like, well, you don't know what happened to me and I had to go through this and all this other stuff. And it's like, you know, at the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day rather, is you wake up every morning with an opportunity to decide how you're going to live your life, you know, and you can let your past dictate things or impact you a certain way or make you, you know, feel like shit and dwell on it. Or you can say, okay, let me put, you know, any of this energy I have and any of these resources that I have at my disposal into something that's positive and purposeful and something that's going to give me drive to do it. You know, and you make that choice every single day. But I think in what you just said, though, the compartmentalizing thing, I think is probably key. And I'm glad that you brought that up, and I wanted to kind of speak to that a little bit.
Yep.
So beyond the things that kind of impacted you that way, were there any fellow Marines that were good friends of yours that you lost while over there? Were there any, you know, gnarly gunfights that you know had a significant impact on you as a person? Anything like that?
Yeah, there's definitely some of those. I'll talk about Patrick, you know, because Patrick was you know, probably one of my best friends and very good. We never deployed together. We didn't technically serve together. We met kind of different. He was MARSOC actually, and I can't even remember how we met, but we started bumming around, hanging out, and our wives got together. Their wives became friends. We became friends. Long story short, you know, and he does, you know, deployments. He was first force 3 times in Iraq. You know, before it was MARSOC. Then he went to MARSOC when that happened. Did 2 more deployments to Afghanistan, wild deployments, and then he goes back for the 3rd, and he dies in a fire in one of them wooden huts out in Herat. You know, so yeah. So that one of all, you asked me about my experiences in war and all that. I've had friends pass away, you know, right there. But that one hurt, not only because it's later in life. When you're young, man, I don't know. It's like we're full of piss and vinegar, and you know, hear stuff like, "Oh man, he you know died with his boots on," and blah. It's like when you're older, that doesn't make a difference. That doesn't help. I'd rather he didn't.
Yeah.
You know.
It's the Viking die with the sword in your hand, go to Valhalla type of perspective on it, I think.
And that works for some people. For me, it didn't.
Yeah.
And being with my wife, she was very good friends with him. That's what made it doubly worse, because when we, you know, found out, it was just like a nuke going off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you and your wife kept in touch with her since then, or has that impacted your relationship?
We've tried, you know, but you know, life happens.
Yeah.
That's a tough thing to deal with, and
for sure it is. That, you know, one of my closest friends, you know, he passed away. This was back in 2002, but you know, I've kept in touch with his widow over the years, and you know, I'm thankful for that. You know, she's a hell of a woman. She's remarried, has kids, and whatever. We still keep in contact, but there is a kind of almost an awkwardness to a certain extent with part of that, and that you know, because it's, especially if you and your wife are still together, there's probably a little bit of a ripping the scab off every time
Time makes it, it doesn't stop it from here, it makes it better. But yeah, every once in a while, it's one thing when you got a buddy that passed away, you can handle that.
Yeah.
But when she's right there next to you,
Yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah, no, I'm tracking. All right, so 4 years in the Marines, 3 combat tours. You transition out and then end up getting pulled back in. Walk us through that process of getting out, what your intentions were, and then how that transpired.
It's like the Godfather. They tried to get out and they pulled me back in. So I did my time, I did my tours, and I got out in 2006, August time frame, full of piston vinegar, going to go attack the world. And I had been out for about a year and a half, and I was working in a Ford in Irvine, and my wife calls me. My boss is a Marine. She goes, "Babe, someone stuck a FedEx in the door. It says USMC on it. It's like got order. It looks all official." She's like freaking out. This woman's been with me for 3 tours. She knows the big game. And I'm like, and she's freaking out. I'm like, "Babe, calm down. It's just a muster sheet. They send them out like once a year. Just throw it away." And she's like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yeah." We have a good laugh over it. She's like, "Oh, I feel so stupid." And I'm like, "Yeah, no big deal." Flash forward 2 months later, my wife calls me at work, freaking out, yelling in the phone, "The Marine Corps sent you something. It looks official, blah, blah, blah." And I'm going, "Okay, we just did this." She goes, "No, this one's different. It's bigger, And I'm like, "Babe, come on, we just did this. Calm down." And she just yells into the phone, "There's a fucking plane ticket in it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "A plane ticket?" She's like, "Yeah, boarding pass." And I look at my boss. I'm like, "Hey, boss, I got to go home. The Marine Corps just sent me a boarding pass." And no kidding, it was FedEx with original order stuck in my door. "Get your ass to MOBCOM, Missouri in 3 days." I had some Lance Corporal call me like, "You got the letter, right? We can NJP you if you don't show up." I'm like, "Chill out, brother." Yeah. I'm coming, man. So yeah, involuntary recall hadn't happened since the Desert Storm.
Yeah. And
you got, of course, the first class of recalls is 300 infantrymen with 3 tours in Iraq and Ramadi and Baghdad. And that's who they recall, And they flew us out. 300 of us pissed off infantrymen, but it was so funny, Mike, and you'll get a kick out of this. You think 300 infantrymen, 3 tours, they've been out for a year and a half now, they're involuntary recalled. What do most people think? They've probably gone savage or freaking out, almost to a man. 300, almost everyone was like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'll go back for a 4th tour." And they're like, no problem. It's like, "Yeah, no, I hate my family. Like, I'll go back for 4th. There was
hate my life.
Yeah, there was like 4 people they were crazy. If you didn't want to be there, they're like, "If you really don't, just raise your hand."
Yeah.
And 4 people did, and they're like, "All right, no harm, no help." They just wanted you to show up.
Does your wife know that now? Have you told her?
Yeah, she knows.
She's not going to be listening to this like,
no, she didn't know.
What?
Yeah. No, she'll be all right. Yeah.
What was the premise behind recalling you guys? I mean, was there a specific, "We're picking you 300 guys because of X and we want you to do this"? I mean, What was the strategy behind it?
Yeah, when I say I got read, they're like, "Oh, because you're Arabic."
Yeah.
No, because I had 0311. That's what they did in Dumb Grunch. Yeah, we'll stick to them. This was before the big surge in 2010. Anyway, this is one of the surge movements.
Yeah.
So they had to free up people that were in country, in Iraq and Afghanistan, from doing menial tasks to go do combat. So you had, I guess, grunts and whatever doing support. So they weren't going to, I was going to Iraq. I'd signed up to be a security detail. And then someone got smart and said, "Hey, if we recall these 3 tour people and someone gets hurt or dies, that's going to be a bad day." So then they said, "You're going to be in a support role, like clicking a thing at a chow hall." And that's when everyone freaked out. That's like, "Yeah, F you, that's not going to happen, So that was the premise. And then they didn't care what you did. So they wanted you to go to Iraq to free up, but they're like, "You can join the reserves, join your local reserve unit, join this." They're like, "We don't care, just come back somehow."
Really?
Yeah. And
God, seems awfully ambiguous for the military. Not that I'm surprised. I mean, at this point, I don't think anything would fucking surprise me if the military or government does. But so what did you end up doing?
So I signed up for a security detail, 4th tour in Iraq, to be a CG's security detail. I was like, "Yeah, I did it last one." This was Blue Diamond. So, I mean, that was like, we were out in Kime, so Blue Diamond was like a vacation, So I was like, "Yeah, no problem."
And CG is what?
Oh, Commanding General. Sorry. Okay. Blue Diamond's a fob out there that's much nicer than the boonies that they stuck us in.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine called me and goes, "Hey, man, they're standing up this new program in the School of Infantry here in Camp Pendleton. It's called Combat Hunter, blah, blah, blah." I didn't know anything about it. I'm like, "Okay." He goes, "You want to join?" I'm like, "Well, I got this. I want to do the 4th tour." And he's like, "Well, they travel a lot and they give you a crap load of per diem." And I was like, done. Done deal. I'll do it. I'll be a per diem hound.
Yeah.
And that's how it happened. And I landed there in 2007, and that's kind of what started. And then I learned about what the program was, and I was like, good Lord, where was this 3 tours ago, you know?
And what was, can you talk about that program?
So the Marine Corps Combat Hunter program kind of came about we were dealing with a really elusive enemy out there on the battlefield, the Juba sniper, you know, and he was running around killing people like it was going out of style. And we had to get smart real quick. And so General Mattis at the time says, you know, enough of this shit. You know, we're not the hunted. We're the hunters. We're Marines. We don't do this shit. We don't get hunted by people, because that's effectively what was happening. So they basically gathered up any subject matter expert that had anything to say about behavior analysis, situational awareness, anything, and they like locked them in a warehouse for 3 months, and they said, don't come out till you fix this problem. And what came out basically was a combat hunter program. It was a way to teach the fleet, the military, quickly how to observe nonverbal behavior, look for pre-event indicators before violence or threat. You know, so often in the military we're trained, when this happens, do this. When this happens, do this. React to an ambush, react to a near ambush, react to a far ambush. You know, and we got to know how to do that. Yeah. But there's a whole other side of the coin we could look at. You know, a car bomb just doesn't assemble itself. Yeah. Say, I'm going to kill Americans today. Someone has to build it and sell it. Someone has to pay for it and get it to the target. So the whole thing is to build that left to bang mindset. And the left to bang is, if bang is your bad event that you don't want to happen, you're shooting, mugging, explosion. We have all these events that we do after the fact. Good guys, we call CASEVAC, we treat people medically, blah, blah, blah. There's bad guy actions that happen after the fact. But I want to get everyone to look left of bang, because there's always going to be pre-event indicators before that incident. And if I can teach you to look for these nonverbals, I call it pulling on the thread. What happens when you pull on the thread long enough? Bang falls apart. Doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So.
To me, what's very interesting about that is that's a skill set that our nation's police officers must possess, maintain, refine, constantly work on. Was there, in terms of that warehouse, which again is very relevant for now, but when you were in that warehouse for that 3-month period, what type of other people did they bring in to kind of round out that experience? I mean, obviously, being in the military, doing tours, interrogating people, being, a pseudo interpreter, like those are going to, be large indicators for experience with stuff like that, because you're reading people when you're, it's not, half of it's what they say, the other half is what they're doing, where they're looking, how they're carrying themselves, their energy, presence, all that shit. Mm-hmm. But what other subject matter experts did they bring in, and what areas of expertise did they have to contribute to that group's collective knowledge base on that subject? Yeah,
great guys, really eclectic group of people, and it's like I stand on the shoulder of giants. They're the ones that really developed this. They brought in urban law enforcement professionals, so anybody with SWAT experience or LA, NYPD, things of that nature, brought them in. They brought civilian trackers. They brought military trackers, that's a whole component there, and wildlife. They brought cognitive science. What's his name? Dr. Gary Klein, the guy who wrote a lot of the decision-making books. He was a part of it. So it was a big net they threw out, a big net. And you throw a big net in the beginning, 30% or it's like, all right, you're nuts, get out. Here's your check, thanks for coming. And then they boiled that down, and what they ended up with was basically law enforcement and tracking, basically, and some of the cognitive stuff too, some of the PhD stuff, but basically that's who they narrowed it down to. So my tracking mentor, a guy by the name of David Scott Donlin, he's from, if you ask him where he's from, he'll tell you he's from Rhodesia, not Zimbabwe, and so things that people like that, they'd come in and teach the instructors.
Yeah. And so that was a 3-month kind of almost OJT type of schoolhouse in some ways, right? Or?
When I say the warehouse, I just like a base somewhere in Virginia. Yeah. That was basically just an idea board. What can we do to? So a Juba sniper was putting out all this propaganda video, and I know we weren't paying it attention to. I know we weren't really analyzing it, because you could see where they were taking shots from. You could see the vehicle, and you tell me, Mike, you think there's people in the government that exist that can look at a video and go, based on this wheel well and this tire window measurements, this person shot this video 60 feet away.
Oh, for 100%.
100%. did we ever get any of them to look at that video. We were running around trying to, itchy and scratchy when someone could have looked at a video of a sniper shot and said, he's 50 feet away. We hear the word sniper, so what do you think? 900 meters away, like Saving Private Ryan in a clock tower, when this guy was shooting sometimes across the street.
Yeah.
We didn't have a file full. No, it wasn't our fault. No one ever told us that,
Did this hunter program ultimately succeed in catching that specific sniper?
So a good friend of mine, he's a good person to have on the show, an awesome American by the name of AJ Prosciutti, actually took the shot and killed the Juba sniper.
Oh,
and,
shit.
Yeah, and I actually do a case study. Me and Prosciutti ran into each other in SOI. We met up together. And I still do his case study. That's literally the first thing I do when I teach people is the Juba case study. And AJ saw a barrel come out of a car, and I believe that was their mission. They were hunting this guy. It was a counter sniper mission, and he saw a barrel come out of a car, took the shot, and we went down there and they started doing the SSE and they took pictures. That's what broke the mold for everybody. When AJ killed him, it was like, holy shit, this is how he's operating. Because we were looking for rooftops, far out, but he was shooting ground level from a vehicle borne sniper platform. That's like,
that's the Beltway sniper fucking.
We gave him
all
that
over
one,
again.
Mike.
Yeah.
It's like you think about it, like, how can you think of a genius combat tactic like that?
Well,
we gave him that one.
That should happen in America.
That was on us.
Yeah.
And when they when he killed the Juba and we broke everything out, we realized Juba just wasn't one sniper. It was multiple cells of snipers just operating like it was one dude.
Yeah.
So it was propaganda. And like I show a picture of the next Juba sniper that we caught and I show them the dead one, and people are like, well, how'd you catch him? And it's like a fat guy. He's like 300 pounds.
So essentially it was the Santa Claus mentality. Like there's a fucking
The
bunch
boogeyman.
of them. Yeah, it's just, everybody knows it is Christmas and Santa Claus, but there's a ton of them, and it's interesting. Were they all local folks, or were they importing, Chechen and Syrian, and were there other elements to it?
It's funny that you mentioned Chechens, because literally the intel coming out on this guy is like 6'3" Chechen rebel, blonde hair, has got a scorpion tattoo, Olympic shooter, and all this stuff. That's what we did. That's what our brains did. When you were scared as a kid and you thought something, you had a boogeyman, or the kid, we're really afraid, we don't understand something, so what do? We turn it into a boogeyman or a Frankenstein. Mm-hmm. That's what we did with that sniper on the ground. It's got to be a Chechen. In reality, one of them was like a 300-pound fat guy.
Yeah, but they were all local.
As far as I know, I'm sure there was, some foreign, but there was all usually local Iraqi cells.
Yeah, because there were for sure Chechen snipers.
Oh yeah, but not this one. Yeah. For 100%, there were Chechen a-holes all over the place.
Just automatically assume because they were so effective that they must be, the boogeyman. I got you. All right, so from there, once you kind of finish that 3-month pipeline, and then now you start doing it, walk us through kind of the rest of your career, because you spent quite a bit more time now doing that, right? Yeah,
so I did landed at Combat Hunter, spent some time there as a Marine, did basically 4 more years there. It was getting time for my contract to be over, and they said, hey, you want a job? And it was a tiny team. It was only 3 teams of us teaching this stuff to the Fleet Marine Force. So Hawaii, Okinawa, Twenty Palms.
Back to Okinawa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, bro. That's where I flew to Okinawa 5 times in 1 year. 5 times in 1 year.
Your favorite place.
Yeah, because they were sending freaking engineers and stuff doing soft missions. It was the MTT where you'd go partner forces. And it's like, hey, someone got the bright idea, said, hey, who wants to try this out? And they'd be like random soft like engineers, like, yeah, I'll try that. And they went and got in a shootout in Afghanistan, and the officer couldn't call in, couldn't land the plane, couldn't verify, and people died. So we had to fly out there 5 times to train them all up. So real small, and they offered me a job when I got out. Like they literally did my hail bale on a Friday, got my plaque, and came back Monday with a polo shirt on, grew a big Arab beard right over the weekend.
What in that 4 years though? I mean, what all were you doing during that time?
I was an instructor for the program, so I was a Marine instructor for the program, and we had mixed staff, Marine and contractor. So I was the Marine face on it.
Gotcha.
So we go to the infantry battalions, fly all over the place, teach the observation, behavior analysis, and tracking.
In terms of real world and real time feedback from the guys that you were teaching, are there any stories you can share of guys that you taught how to do these things and then they went over and used it and were successful that you can share?
Oh yeah, there's millions of them. Like there's tons of. I got a whole cupboard full of them. But the one really kind of feather in our cap at the time was when the team was sitting there. We got a call from the command deck, and they said, "Hey, we're sending someone out to set up a phone. You're getting a phone call tomorrow from Afghanistan." I'm like, okay, but I'm a contractor at this point. So someone comes up, they set up like a DSN phone, and I'm like, oh, what is an investigation? Like, is it NCIS? What's going on? It was the COC, I want to say it was 3-7. It was one of their company COCs. The command deck was in there, lieutenant, sergeant, couple sergeants, and everybody else was in the room, and they called us, and they say, we just want to tell you something. So we taught these guys, we hammered the 7th Marine Regiment, we hammered them in Combat Hunter, tracking, profiling, all that stuff. They go over there, and this lieutenant's walking out with a squad. They're going to go visit an abandoned compound. And I guess that's like, I've never been to Afghanistan, so that's like immediate indicator, And so they're going there, and there's kind of a like crappy hill, and there's a house right here. They take contact right when they get close to the house. And they go low, it's sporadic shots. So the squad leader says, get in the house, The lieutenant goes, hold up. This is what we've been shot at. And he peeks over the courtyard and he looks in the courtyard, and he said he couldn't even articulate it. He just I saw fresh ground disturbance, one of the big indicators. That's all I said in the courtyard, and that was it for him. And he yells at the squad leader, not in the house, go to the berm. So they run to the berm and they take cover, they return fire. And as soon as they hit the berm and return fire, boom, shots are over. And they're like, oh, that was weird. And they had an engineer with them and said, hey, go sweep the compound. Long story short, they sweep the compound. There's about 13 daisy-chained IEDs in the middle of it.
Wow.
And they wanted to call us on that one, and come to find out, after he had time to think about it, he goes, I saw fresh prints. There's definitely ways you can tell fresh disturbance. And he goes, this was an abandoned compound, fresh prints. That's enough. I teach, bias for action. That's enough information for me. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So what they were trying to do is try to shoot him, get him to take cover in the house.
Yeah.
And it would have been a mass cas,
Wow.
They called us from Afghanistan. That was a good one in my life. That was cool.
No, it's an amazing story of not only the ability to learn that capability, pass it on to guys, and actually have them apply it. I think that's unquestionably the most challenging part of training anybody, frankly, to do anything is can they actually fucking apply it where it actually does some good. So that's an awesome story for sure. What about that process that you learned, refined, and ultimately taught to, I'm sure it's impossible to quantify how many lives have been saved or altered positively because of the training that you've put guys through. I'm sure some of this, you can't share entirely, and that's probably where you have, altered the program to fit into your business. But can you kind of walk us through the mindset, the mentality, what you learn there and how it all kind of works together and applies?
All right, yeah. So I'm going to speak for myself, and usually people get weird around me, but literally I want to turn you into, when you come to my training, and I train a lot of civilians now, I still train cops and military, but I tell civilians right off the bat, like, I want you to walk away today kind of thinking like a serial killer. I want you to be a serial killer. And everyone starts clutching their pearls. I'm like, yeah, I'm not the whole killing innocent people thing or wetting the bed after 12. I don't need you doing that. But, I'll ask them questions like, does a serial killer strike when it's most advantageous for them? Do they plan? Do they do reconnaissance? They do all this stuff. So that's what I want you walking around, a thinking, hunting predator. As human beings, we are predators, hands down. And not only that, but we're apex predators. Biologically, I'm not doing like motivation, like you're apex. I'm saying biologically, we're it. Why are we it? Why are we the apex predator? It's not because we're stronger than a bear or cheetah or any of that stuff. It's because we're smarter. General Mattis used to say, before you engage your weapon system, engage your brain before you engage your weapon system. So we had to get smarter real quick. So that's what I want. I teach people to look left of bang, to think about things, to operate like a bad guy, honestly. That's a huge component. I call putting on the bad guy hat, red cell, whatever it is like go home and burglarize your own home. Go home and attack your own unit. There was a sniper in, I'm really sad. I can't remember his name, but they had a FOB in Iraq. They were getting single shot sniper fire, well-aimed shot. and they call him in. It's a bunch of like non-infantry, and they're like this tiny little cop in the middle of nowhere. So he comes in, they go, hey, you're a sniper. We need you to do a counter sniper mission. They want him to go all Rambo and like stalk this guy and kill him. And he starts looking at the fob, and he's been through the training, and he's like, well, let's just reverse this a little bit. Where would I take a shot from? So he started scanning, and he found a couple windows, a couple buildings that were high enough to go there and there. So he went up and took a look at them, and everywhere he had mapped out that he would take a shot from, he came in and they had dozers, and he goes, I want you to berm right here, berm right here, berm right here. And it was like sporadic berms, and they did that and never received another single sniper shot. So
interesting.
The one person wants to go aggressive and go find the sniper, but he just engaged his brain a little bit, and he set the battlefield, and never got shot at again.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. In terms of, kind of how you, obviously this is going to have to be a Reader's Digest version, but is there kind of a synopsis reduced kind of A to Z, synopsis that you can provide for walking people through that? Yeah,
there's a lot of components of it, but again, the left to bang mindset thing. But the really best part of the training is a baseline and anomaly, right? It's a simple concept to understand. I go way deep down the rabbit hole. We go real down the hole, but if you can understand baseline and anomaly, you should be walking around establishing behavioral baselines everywhere you go. Your home, your kid's school, malls, whatever. There's always a norm to that area. And you have to establish these baselines, because if you don't, you're never going to spot the anomaly, right? And most people hear that word anomaly and they think threat. Yes, an anomaly can absolutely be a threat, and you want to take care of those. We want to teach those first. But sometimes anomalies are just more information about your setting, based on distances. I can tell based on the distances we keep if you know someone intimately, personally, or publicly, you don't know them at all. So that's not a threat, but if I walk into a crowd, that's a little piece of good information I want to know.
Except for that asshole that doesn't get personal space. And I don't know you at all. But why are you
right here? Yeah, that's a guy who doesn't Mike, there's rules to this stuff we call life, just like that. Yeah. So I want to teach people the rules, and when people are breaking the rules. Yeah. So you can. No one's gonna. People think I'm a like Jedi mind tricks. I'm not gonna be. You're not gonna turn the crowd on a 400 person crowd and go, that guy right there, shoot him. No, I took a class one time, shoot that guy. It's more complicated, but I can give you the skills, the behaviors, and nonverbals to look at that crowd and sift. Yeah. And go, okay, what are the rules to this setting? Who's playing by the rules? You can paint them out. Now, who's not playing by rules? All right, this person. So now you've focused your attention.
So to me, it sounds. In essence, in a way, almost like Kim's games with snipers,
exactly.
or in a way, it's almost like your brain, which inherently I think looks for patterns, or maybe a better way to put it is looks for irregularities in patterns. It sounds like that's a lot of what it is, right? Is it?
So it's a three-tiered thing. So I want to teach you observation, enhanced observation. And then I want to teach you the behavior profiling. Then I want to teach you tracking. But we don't teach them in silos. You just get smarter and smarter the more you learn. And to your point.
Well, so in terms of the way your brain is kind of wired, you can, something as simple as like you can look at a cornfield, right? And if one row is fucked up, you're going to notice that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Is that the human brain, I think, especially in a big crowd of people, like if you're head isn't completely buried in your ass, you're going to notice the guy that's acting a little fucking squirrely. Right?
You and your background, you would, Mike. Yeah. But 99% of the population have no idea what they're looking at. Most people have no idea what you're even giving off to people. Mm-hmm. So to watch other one, that's hard. So if I can give you, it's not that person's fault, but I can show you what to look for. Those are those specific behavioral cues, like looking for situational awareness. This is a simple one. You've done it your whole life. Is somebody checking their six? Someone who's aware of their background. Someone walks into a restaurant, walks all the way, puts their back up against the wall. I don't know if that person's good or bad. I have no idea. Those are the only two people in the world that do it. It's the good and the bad. Yeah. Everybody else doesn't pay attention. But if I see that behavior, that's like player 2 has entered the field. It's like, all right, what's up, guy?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, for those people listening, what are kind of, obviously there's a lot, but I'm sure that you could reduce it to a handful of things that are the most common that are going to stick out that people should be looking for. But then more importantly is how do you get people to actually pay attention to that and try to notice it?
Yeah, it's not rocket science, Mike. Everyone's all like amazed when I start talking about some of the concept. But when I say something, it's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. All it is, it takes someone to take your head and just go look. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. I'm out in town watching behavior. I've been with my wife years, and I'm still I'm like, hey, babe, check this out. And she's just like, shut up.
But you're going to say you're still trying to figure her out.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's not. I quit that a long time. She's sick of my profiling, but
this isn't going to work on me, goddammit.
Yeah. So the big ones I like to talk about are the threat-based ones: pacifying behavior, rubbing the back of the neck, cleansing of the face, doing one of these numbers, any type of self-touch. You ever seen someone do the kind of ticky self-touch? I don't know what's going on in that person's head at that point. I don't know if they're a terrorist or a suicide bomb. I can tell you, based on that behavior, there's a fear or threat happening right now, okay? So if I'm in a setting, in a context where nothing bad or kinetic is happening, like a mall, and I have some of these pacifying indicators off someone, okay, do I run up and like Goldberg, tackle them? No, but I focus my attention. And let's say if you're empowered, like let's say you're law enforcement or security, you're empowered to do something, I might contact that person. Just walk up and go, hey, what's up, brother? How you doing today? Just start a conversation and see where it goes from there. So pacifying behavior, situational awareness, whitening and red in the face, obvious. This is a little bit more obvious, but white of when you go white, blanching of the face, okay? Mm-hmm. If your skin tone will allow that, if someone goes white in the face. If I see that in a crowd, either you just got really sick, or you just got done like maybe physically exerting yourself really bad, or you had a very high level fear or threat happen in your brain. Why do I know that? Because that blanching is caused by vasoconstriction. You're pooling your blood. So whatever's going on in your brain's like, I might die or get injured right now. Mm-hmm. So if I see that in a big old crowd of people, I might want to talk to that person,
Yeah.
Or run away from it.
Yeah, or at least pay attention to them. One of the things, taking a step back, the self-soothing, the wiping of the face, the grabbing the neck. One thing I'm just curious of it, and as you're mentioning that, thinking of, especially like a mall scenario, how much of the auxiliary information / picture being painted plays a role? Because I know, like, if I saw a guy my age, right, sitting on a bench doing that, but I also, see that he's there with 3 fucking daughters and his wife that are shopping, like he's just fucking over it,
So when you're making your observations and you're looking at this behavior, trying to establish baselines, you have to make sure you're viewing these behaviors in context and relevance of your situation. You can't just look at one indicator. This isn't a silver bullet. It's like, oh, yeah, shoot that guy. You got to look at, at least 3 indicators, I'd like to say. But again, you have to view it in context and relevance. So let me give you an example. Let me ding you with my wand and I just turned you into a narcotics detective. And you're going to serve a warrant on a house. It's full of dope, nothing like you'd flush, a lot of dope. And you walk in the house, you walk past the living room, you walk in the kitchen. You're standing in the kitchen. What are some things you see in a normal kitchen, Mike?
In my kitchen or a normal kitchen?
Normal kitchen, yeah, any kitchen. Yeah.
I don't have a normal kitchen.
Yeah, okay.
No, a thing of utensils, a dish rag hanging on the dishwasher. Maybe a drying rack with a couple of clean dishes in it.
Appliances, blender, coffee maker, pots and pans, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Cool. You see all that stuff.
Dead hooker in the dishwasher.
That's not something you should see.
That's not normal.
When you walk and you see all those items that you're serving this warrant, okay, are all those items within context and relevance to the kitchen? Yes. They're all in context. Are they really relevant to your investigation? Not really, not unless something else pops up. So, okay, now let's rewind that scenario. Instead of walking to the kitchen, you walk in the garage. Now in the garage, you see pots and pans and coffee makers and glassware. Does that fit the context? Not at all. Now, did it maybe just become very relevant? Absolutely. Same thing in country, coming up on some of these HME, explosive cook areas, I remember my buddy telling me he had a tarp and it just looked like sand on top. And he's like, oh, that's funny. And his foot kicked it and the sand started to spark. And it happened to be PTN or something on a big sheet. So always viewing those in context and relevance. So you did a great example, like, a dad with 3 daughters, hanging out, no problem, as opposed to a single male, in a playground with no kids. That's a problem.
Yeah. That's just creepy to begin with, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, which one is yours? Oh, none of them. I'm just hanging
just
out.
Me.
I was thinking about having kids, and so I wanted to come watch for a while.
That's great. Yeah.
That was actually a Impractical Jokers episode. It was fucking cringy, absolutely cringy. But anyway, so I guess that, for most of the listeners out there, where the most common places where A, they're going to be, and B, where something like this may happen, where they need to be head on a swivel, what can you provide in terms of that well-rounded perspective, right, is that if we'll say like a busy shopping center, a town square, and say a sporting event, using kind of those three generic categories as an example, what would be, what people should look for and kind of how they can, bring some of the knowledge that you possess to bear practically.
Yeah. So the best thing I tell people do, and it's stuff we've been doing a long time, how do you get an elephant? One bite at a time, little bites at a time. So I talk to people, you should plan, be observant, have your situational, but you should also plan in phase lines. Where am I headed? I'm leaving the house with my kids and my wife and whatever, headed to this ball game. When it comes to the behavioral stuff, think of, all right, what should the baseline be when I get to the parking lot? Is it normally, are people tailgating? Is it a big rowdy party? Is it completely quiet? What should I expect when I get there if I've seen it before? So you see what I mean? You're already establishing a baseline before you ever got there. You get to the parking lot, establish a baseline, you hunt for anomalies. And then moving from the parking lot to, your seats, whatever, just do it in phase lines. When it comes to the family plan, I like to call, the more file folders you can give your family, the more observable stuff you can give your family, the more aware you are. If you were like a 10-foot antenna and your range is like 50 miles, if you can teach your wife, your kids, just little things, just little observations, you're increasing the range of your antenna, therefore increasing your safety. So things of that nature.
I guess, for somebody listening, I know that, and myself included, is that, people may say, it's the how, like how do I become more situational aware? Like what do I need to look for? How do I make myself more prepared? What do I tell my kids and family to look for? With my background, like there's a lot of things I tell my family and my kids, and a lot of things we do preparedness wise. But for those listening that don't have that, to me, what's difficult is taking somebody that knows zero and giving them, some base level of knowledge that they can take away from a conversation and actually apply it. I think that's the hardest part, right? Is that, you can take a fucking 3-week course and whatever, but for those listening, is there anything that you can kind of give them to take away from this episode to be able to say, hey, these are some of the things that we need to do and how we need to act on it?
Yes. And let's start with language. I can't, go all the way down the rabbit, but let's start with the language we use, the word why. Okay. Especially with all the craziness that we've seen nowadays in the news media, you see these horrible things, murders, violent stuff, and you see people asking why. Why is he doing that? Why is he picking up that brick? It's like, you need to delete the word why from your vocabulary. At that kinetic point, there's no why anymore. I don't give a shit what why is. I care about what's going to kill me next. That brick in your hand, if I got my family with me. So that's one thing you need to stop asking why, start asking what's going to kill me next. Denial is the biggest killer out there. Okay, if you've ever said those words, no way did I just see that. No way did that dude just punch that dude. No way did Vic 2 just blow up in a fireball. No way did that just happen. You are in a state of denial. Your brain cannot fathom what it's looking at. I actually got a gunfight story with this too. It happened to me right in the middle of a gunfight. If you've ever been there, you're in denial. You're basically stuck on stupid. There's nothing happening right there. So stop trying to explain away other people's behavior. If you see something weird, stop going, oh, he's probably just so-and-so. I hear it all the time. It's like, stop. That's not your job to explain someone's weird behavior. If anything, it's their job. Walk up and tap and go, hey, what's up, man? Good morning. What the hell you just do that for? So that's the biggest thing. The biggest takeaways is stop asking why and, stop explaining away people's behavior. Obviously, we can go real deep with specific behavior, and we will, but that's the biggest takeaway I can give with people.
Yeah, okay. In terms of the courses that you provide, is there kind of a step-by-step, like you cover this first and
yes.
then like, can you walk us through kind of what that's like?
Yeah, there's definitely a progression. So starts out with, macro and then we go micro. So I got to prep your brain. I got to show you what the hell I'm talking about with these behaviors, these specific behaviors I keep talking about. So I have to show you where they come from. So we kind of analyze decision-making in stress and connected environments. We'll analyze how the brain functions under stress. Most people don't even realize in a stressful environment, you can only recall about 3 things. Physical stress, physical violence, you can only recall about 3 things. In a non-stressful setting, it's about 7. So if you're trying out some like wushu martial arts and they're teaching you step 15 or whatever, you're not going to remember any of that crap in a fight. You're just going to, go to, people say, oh, I'm going to rise to the occasion. No, absolutely not. You will defer to the highest level of your training. Mm-hmm. So if you're high level of training, good. If you're shitty, hey, that's what you're going to defer to in violence. Yeah. So we start with the brain and things of that nature. There's a bunch of goofy stuff, change blindness. You've been to the gate, you've been to any base. People on checking IDs. How long are they on those shifts for?
I mean, usually at least 8 hours.
Yeah, 8 hours more. Like in Pendleton, it's 12.
Yeah.
It's 12-hour shifts. You only have the ability to pay attention to fine detail for about 30 minutes before your brain starts wandering. So, what does that Marine look like? First half hour on post, he's like, hey, he's locking and popping. Good morning, hey, pull over there. He just looks great, Then fast forward 7 hours later, and he's just like, he's not even like engaging his bicep. He's just waving everybody in. If you opened up that Marine's head, there'd be like a cow with a top hat playing a ukulele. It's not his fault. His brain is burnt out. Yeah. So just knowing.
It's all the crayons he's been eating.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Here we go.
All right. So once you give people kind of the big picture that way, where does it go from there?
Then we get into the specific observables. So a couple I've mentioned already. We start kind of macro and get deeper. So the pacifying behavior, things of that nature, reddening of the face, whitening of the face, so the upper level stuff. But then we go really down there. So I break them down in domains. So behavioral, kinesics, you have biometrics, you have proxemics. Most people just say, oh, watch the body language. Well, it's so much more than that. It's body language, it's eye contact, it's the tone of my voice, so we deep dive that. With proxemics, you tell me, here's one of the things. Proxemics is the distances we keep with each other and what that communicates. So close is good, far is bad. So that's culturally specific. But if I could teach you how to spot a leader in a group, you've never met them, you never talked to them, just based on our observation, go, that person's in charge. You think that's of value to somebody,
Yeah, for sure it is.
Exactly, across multiple fronts. So we use mimicry, adoration, direction, and entourage. It's our little acronym called MADE Man, MADE. And I break down these behaviors like mimicry. If I turn the corner, I'm watching three people and they're all kind of standing here like this, I don't know who's mimicking who. But let's say Mike puts his hand just like you just did right now. And if that person's a leader, you'll slowly see someone kind of match Mike. And then the third person, so on and so forth. Do they have an entourage with them? Are they giving direction? If they say something, do people get up and do something? A vehicle pulls up, driver gets out, runs across the other side, and opens the door for that person. Did I have to hear anything to know that maybe that person's of a higher stature? So that's one of the ones we go and do proxemics, how to spot a leader in the crowd.
That or he's just a really big dick to his friends.
Exactly, or that too. Yeah. So that's when we get into the decision making, and then we get into the observables, then speeding up your decision making. So where do they come from? What are they? Okay, cool. You just told me a bunch of cool crap. How do I use this to speed up my decision making? And that's what we kind of end with on the way out.
Okay. It reminds me of a story, a good friend of mine that is actually not far from where we're at right now. A story of using those same types of skill sets in terms of frankly just trying to get laid, which is he. So like he would have on like a suit, jacket, unbuttoned thing, or like kind of a business casual type of outfit, and then 4 or 5 of his friends would get in full blown like Secret Service suits.
There you go.
And they would go out into town pretending that he, and so naturally like
this guy's burning calories coming up with this story.
Yeah,
this is great.
But sure as fuck, to your point though, is that like even not trying to pay attention, they're like, who the fuck is that guy?
Yep.
And so now there's 300 fucking hot women that want to know who this guy is. That's got 5 fucking suited up bodyguards at a club in the VIP section. Meanwhile, it's an E5 in the military just trying to pull some hot ass. But again, to your point though, is that those types of things stick out enormously. I think where I'm curious to hear your perspective on is with what's going on right now. Like I'm sure you've seen a lot of different clips, video clips in the news and media, et cetera, that show people, getting themselves into situations that you've got to just be shaking your head like, motherfucker, how did you not see the 300 things prior to that? To me, like that's what I'm, especially with so many different things going on right now. What type of advice can you provide to people to try to avoid situations like that, because from my perspective, it's, if I'm pulling up and I see a fucking mob, like, I'm not going to even try to drive through them. I'm going to fucking turn around and go somewhere else. Like, I'm not even going to go there.
Exactly.
But if you could, whether it's, riots, whether it's protests that start out peaceful that end up not, looting, things of that nature, and also big crowds where, at what point does the human brain just not be able to fucking identify? Because you see, like, I've seen several videos, as we all have, of people like getting sucker punched and getting jumped by a fucking mob of people. Is that, at some point you've got to realize, like, this is just a fucking bad spot and I need to not be here. What can you provide advice wise on stuff like that? Yeah,
it's pretty interesting timing, Mike. I just did a whole about like an hour and a half kind of online presentation about this about like a week ago. I called it riot environments. So behavior analysis in riot environments. And part of the stuff we've already talked about, so phase lines, but like, there's simple stuff like looking up and see if there's a news helicopter or a sheriff helicopter. If that's, a mile ahead of me, half mile, I want to know that information, stay away from those areas. But I get people all the time that send me these videos, whether it be a riot or whatever, some type of mob thing. And they're like, what would you do in this situation? It's like, I'd get my head stomped in because there's 10, I would never be in that situation. I'd be, shot in the ass at the Arby's down the street because I'm running, I don't have a, and they think I'm, big tough Marine. It's like, I don't have a squad of Marines. I don't have a weapons system. I live in California, we get toothpicks out there, So that is the mentality of not rushing in. And again, I train a lot of civilians, not rushing in, being here, assessing the situation, and get you and your family out of there the quickest way you can. Some of the stuff we brought up, and it's just, I'm talking out loud. Who's ever thought about making a fake press ID, press pass, with a vest, and have that sitting in your car. You run into a riot, you throw that thing on, or whatever slogan of the rioters are, and sneak out of the car, get out of the mob, and start beating up your own car. I don't know, go against the grain, get the hell out of there. Yeah. It's all about survival, and it's all about being cunning. Okay, that's what I want to do. I want to build a little cunning and a little, I call it tactical patience. It's like, let's see this. Let's take a sec. Do I have time to sit here for a second and watch? Yes. I don't have an immediate threat. There's no, it's not a whatever danger. I can think about this and watch for a second, watch behavior. So we do patrols. I'd have people patrol into like my shitvilles, where I'd blow them up and do all sorts of horrible stuff. They did great stuff. Where they'd come up and this was their target, area they had to come in. And let's say you're out there with your family, and they come up and they posted and they sat there for 15 minutes. I want to claw my eye. The whole scenario was like 30 minutes. I'm like, good Lord, what the heck are you guys doing? They're like, man, just analyzing, making sure it's all clear, creating a button. And they actually made a call. They're like, yeah, we're not even going in there. And they ended up. So things of that nature, just being aware of what's happening, and social media too, Twitter, having that on there, Twitter, TikTok, like, they sound stupid, but they are up to the second news updates. Mm-hmm. So we had a protest, 1,000 people strong where I live, right, maybe 2 blocks away. Okay, it was a kids, completely peaceful, nothing bad happened. But I was tracking that thing hours and miles out. I knew exactly where they were coming, and they went actually, by my wife's work. I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm waiting for the QRF call. Yeah. Like we can go. I'm funny now, but we can go back to those dark times too. Yeah. So things of that nature we talk about.
Yeah. Is there, something, that people could say, or that you could, I guess, recommend to people to practice?
Yeah.
In terms of, reading people or whatever. Like, what do you recommend people do to get better at it? Because just like with anything, it's a skill set that, you can't just listen to for 5 minutes and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I learned that. And, you've got to practice it like with anything. How do you help people practice getting better at being situationally aware and doing these types of things?
Yeah, so here's a cool little game. Very simple, very subtle, and you can do it anytime, any place. It's a very basic building block, but it has a lot of training value as you keep doing it. You got to keep doing it though. So figuring out the direction. Okay, I want you to go anywhere, take a seat on some stairs and watch a crowd of people. And as people approach you with whatever direction, maybe do it with a friend. I want you to sit there for 15 minutes and guess what direction they're going to turn. Let's say it's like, whatever, I don't know, it's a T intersection. You can go left or go right based on them approaching. And, before they turn their foot, before they commit, you and your buddy got to guess, where direction they're going and why. And so oftentimes it'll be, an arm movement or, they cut something short or look in that direction, and that'll key you off. That's something simple that can start you out there. In your own home, I used to have a thing that said, watch body language for 15 minutes a day. It's like, how often can we watch people? All day. But if you're at home and if you get a good piece of reality TV, like real reality TV that's unscripted, and let's say you got it recorded on your DVR, you sit there with you and your wife and your kids and churn it down all the way down, and 10 minutes, try to figure out what's going on in this scenario. You're not going to get 100% of the answer, but you'd be very surprised. You get 70, 80% with nonverbals, and it can even be foreign. It can be a completely foreign language. Again, cultural difference, but there are these patterns that humans, we keep. You see them all over the world. You know, it doesn't matter where, especially when it comes to fear and threat with these behaviors. They're patterns we all show. They just might look a little different. Yeah. So a couple of things like that. You know.
Are there any that I guess that surprise you or that have surprised you? Like, have there been times where you've had hard lessons where you've been horribly wrong, or like, you know, some good lessons learned that you can share that like, hey, don't do this, or, you know, things like that?
You heard my comment earlier. This is not a silver bullet. This is not, you know, I want to make you dangerous. I want to make you survivable, you know, but it's not a silver bullet, you know. Let me give you this example. So I teach people deception. We talk about lying and deception when we go into that whole thing. There's a lot of crap out there. There's a lot of misconceptions, but some of the stuff is good, you know. And one of them is a kinesic slip. So I'm saying something. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. I'm telling everybody here, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. What's the problem with my statement?
Yeah, your body says that you did.
Yeah, I'm nodding my head, yes, I did. I'm literally nodding my head, yes, you know. So, and we say no like that, and it feels funny if you do it. So if someone unconsciously does that, and you're savvy enough to catch that, it's like, now do I jump up and scream, you're lying, you know? No, I just file that one away. It's like, all right, that's something. I was teaching in front of this guy. This is a really niche kind of subject I talk about. There's not a lot of us out there. And this guy, Dr. He was kind of a shout out. What's his name? I'll figure out his name. This doctor, he's kind of the super expert of this. And I was giving a presentation. I talked about that. I go, hey, everybody, universally, we say yes like this and no like that, right? And everyone agrees, you know, and I move on to my point. And he grabs me, super nice. Dr. Matsumoto. So if your listeners, you want to understand facial language stuff, Dr. Matsumoto. And he grabs me, he goes, hey, just want to add a comment. Super nice. He goes, yeah, that's not true. You know, he goes, there's certain parts of the world where they say no like that and yes like that. And he started listing them off, India. And I'm like, yeah, I've kind of been saying that for 3-4 years now. And he goes, yeah, it's not accurate. So, you know, getting corrected, you know, I'm always worried because, you know, I'm not an educated guy. I learned this stuff in the Marine Corps, but I'll have PhDs in psychology. I had this one woman walk up to me and she goes, hi, I'm a psychologist. And I was like, oh, they found me. I've been busted, you know, call my bullshit. And she's like, that was awesome. And she goes, I haven't remembered half that stuff since I took school, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think to your point on the guy that approached you and said there's different parts of the world, I mean, that's where the cultural context comes in, you know, because here that's not the case, you know.
Yes.
And that's, you know, knowing your audience. But in terms of on the civilian side of courses that you run now and things of that nature, have there been any feather in the cap moments where you've put people through training that has gotten them, you know, similarly, like they contacted you afterwards and said, you know, hey, we were here in your class on this, taught us that, or whatever, anything like that?
Yep. Yeah, we got some good ones. And again, you even mentioned it, like, how do you quantify prevention? Yeah. You can't put a number on it. You can't prevent, but I can tell you a story, you know. So we had the Afghanistan one on the civilian side. There were a few good ones. I had this woman from Guatemala. I talked about situational awareness, checking your six, you know. No one really does that. She came up to me, she kind of like tears in her eyes at the end of this course, and she goes, I was born and raised in Guatemala. She goes, I had a shitty life. It was bad. Murder, you know, whatever. She lives in Orange County now. She's great. She goes, I grew up doing that, looking behind my back, and I still do it to this day, and I'm really self-conscious, and I think people are they think she's a freak. Most people, I guarantee, don't even notice it. Yeah. And she goes, what you told me is I'm doing it right, huh? I'm going, well, absolutely you're right. You've been right this entire time. It's everybody else. It's the weirdos. Yeah. And she kind of smiled, and that was, I mean, it was a stupid kind of little moment, but it meant a lot to her. Yeah. That she, no, you've been right the whole time. Yeah. There was a police officer from San Francisco. We just did an interview with him. Him and his wife go to Mexico to visit family in a really bad part of Mexico, really bad part. And he gets there. This is a cop. He'd been on the job 20 years. I'm not going to teach a cop anything about behavior analysis. I might give him some fancy words, but cops, you know, do it every day, all day. but I can give him the verbiage to articulate. And him and his wife came to my class. They drove down from San Francisco to LA to go to it. And they go into this situation, they sit down, and basically, long story short, there's a market area. 2 guys roll up in dirt bikes. One's got a woman with them. They both have their helmets on. They both kick their stand, and they get out and they walk out into the market. No big deal. But they're not looking at anything. What should you be doing in a marketplace?
I mean, not that.
Yeah, exactly.
Shopping.
Yeah. What are the rules? Yeah, shopping, looking, selling. They're not doing any of that. And they walk around. They're not taking off their bike helmets. And so now he's like, okay, I got that, and I got the bike helmet. That's odd. Why wouldn't you want to take that off? Mm-hmm. And so a couple indicators happen, and he turns to tell his wife, and she's already staring at him, and she's already keyed up. She's already watching. She's like, ooh. And she had said she was watching him, and she saw his body language change and went, what was that? Yeah. And you probably happened sometime. So they watch these guys, and one of the things they talk about is look whose attention is on you. If you walk in a room, normal people, you walk in a room, they kind of might acknowledge you, might not, but go back to doing what you're doing. But if you walk in a room, the record skips and someone looks and kind of orients towards you, and now their attention's on you, maybe you want to pay attention. These guys, all of a sudden, he says something to the woman, and all 3 of them at the same time went, whoop, and they all stared at him. And he realized he was kind of in this plaza. All he had is a beer, so he was kind of doing one of these, taking the ball, and he's alone. And they kind of turned around, and he was waiting. He goes, at that moment, I know it could be a bad situation. He goes, but I was waiting. I didn't want to just grab my wife and get up and beat feet. I wanted to sneak away. So he was waiting for them to turn, and he grabbed his wife and got the hell out of there. What's the end of the story? Nothing. Yeah. Nothing happened. We don't know what could they have been there for Sunday school, or they could have been cartel met. Who knows? Yeah.
But I mean, to me, the point is that exactly. Half of the battle is making whoever, if you're a potential target, knowing that whoever is the potential aggressor, mm-hmm. that they're the potential aggressive. If you let them know that, that's half the battle. Now, I'm sure there are some circumstances, and I am not naive to the fact that we're talking in a completely hypothetical what if yes. there isn't a guidebook to that per se. It's more of a mentality, and there's principles that you apply and yes. things of that nature. So it's hard to give clear-cut examples, but to me that brings up an idea in my mind, and that in that situation, it sounds like it's probably better that you knew. Or that you made them aware that you knew that they were looking at you.
Yes.
I'm sure that there's probably some scenarios where it's actually in your best interest to not let them know that that they're looking at you, and maybe you just adjust your behavior that way. Can you, even if it's a completely hypothetical, share maybe a situation where that would be the case?
I got 2 good ones. This is 2 extremes kind of. So do that one, and then we'll talk about that one. Yeah. So the one extreme that I wouldn't advise is, brandishing of weapon systems or anything like that. Okay. And it might be illegal with whatever you're doing, but I had a guy come to me and goes, hey, you'd have loved this story. Let me tell you, he took my class and I had the story, and the guy shows up, he was kind of mean mugging him, kind of predatory look. So he wanted to, pull his knife out and eat an apple with it. He goes, yeah. And that guy, screwed off. And okay, I'm not saying that guy's wrong. It worked. Nothing bad happened, but I would not personally do that, because one, what are you doing? You're letting them know what weapon system you have on you. Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of peacock feathers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if I'm going to go there, I don't want you to know anything I have, So that's one side of it. The other side of it is I was in Rome with my wife. It was last year. We're in Rome, and there were pickpockets everywhere, all over the place. And I'm going there, just everyone won't shut up about pickpockets. I'm like, so I'm thinking there's 4 million pickpockets in the city of Rome, and I'm thinking they're criminals, they'll jack you or rob you or whatever. They're not really criminals. They're not. They're scavengers. They're hyena. Mm-hmm. They don't take the hard fights. So first, 3rd or 4th time in the subway in Rome, I'm looking for these guys, and sure enough, here's one guy. He's in the subway and he's got his phone, and every 5 or 6 seconds he looks at his phone and he does this. He's the only one in the entire subway who has his head up, except for me and my wife. So I'm standing there and he's scanning. Every 2 or 3 seconds, he'll pick his head up and scan, go back to his phone. So I'm just watching it. It's like, all right, if I had to pick someone to be a pickpocket, it's this guy. The train stops. A guy gets on. or a bunch of people get off and a guy gets on, and I'm still watching this guy. This is the only reason I see it. This guy gets on from another stop and looks at him and kind of gives him the head nod. And think of a rail in a subway, right? So the first guy I'm watching, he has his hand on it. That guy gives him the head nod. It's an open subway, and he puts his hand over that guy. So they're both holding on to the same thing. Would you do that with someone you wouldn't know?
No, for sure. That's fucking weird.
Yeah, that's like the urinal thing. You don't walk up to the next urinal. It's like, what's up, bro? Nice watch. You know,
I might.
You might, Mike. Yeah. But I saw the interaction, so I'm like, whoa, those guys know each other. That's obvious, and they're looking at each other, not saying anything. So I'm tapping my wife. She's already tracking, you know, and I'm just kind of watching them. And every once in a while, they're kind of scanning. And then the one guy finally scans my way, and I'm just glaring. I'm staring at him. He's doing this, and he lands on me, and I'm just glaring at him. And he did literally, his head came back, and he went back down on his phone. And the next train stop came, and I'm kind of smiling, watching him. And he kind of looks at the other guy, nods his head, and they walk out together.
Oh, shit.
So sure shit. I bet, I can't 100% say, but just that. Yeah. Just me staring at him going, you ain't the only one in this place staring, bro.
Yeah.
But if you look, the baseline is everyone's right here.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's one of the things you see that's pretty prevalent in our society, and I'm not saying I'm not guilty of it at a gas station or whatever, fucking around on your phone. And I mean, they're one of the most distracting stimuli, I think, in human history. But is there, like, for people that are, like, if you're traveling, whether it's inside the United States, outside the United States, like, what would your advice be for people in terms of resources? Like, hey, I'm going to this area, you know, which is, you know, anywhere outside your own fucking neighborhood or town or whatever, where you're going somewhere. Is there like almost a resource guidebook or kind of a mode of operations that you employ? Like, if I'm going to go here, this is what I want to look for. This is what I want to learn about. These are the things I want to know before I go to an area that you can advise people on.
Yep. I would, first prepare yourself. Embassies are like guidelines. If you go to a foreign country and you're like, that's okay, the U.S. embassies are, that doesn't mean anything. Like, if you should think of yourself in a space capsule. Like, you can call people, but physically no one's coming to help you, you know, in these countries. So definitely do that, but get real friendly with the cab drivers, the Uber drivers, the concierge, the barber shop. You want to get an intel dump on a base in America, you go to a barber shop, and things of that nature. Watering holes. Look for social watering holes. And I learned this from, Ed Calderon. He does a whole thing on it. Going to the social watering holes and seeing what the locals are doing. So I would build in a baseline day, literally day one. And I do this for tracking. So if I've been tracking 10 years, 15 years now, I've been tracking a lot of places. If you put me in a new environment, new medium that I've never been in, I'm going to take some time to walk around all day, break stuff, step on stuff, see what it looks like. Same here with the behavior analysis. Spend a day figuring out what those spaces are like, because they're not going to be your American one. Yeah. Culturally.
Is there something that people can do prior to going there, like above and beyond figuring out where the embassy is? Like, are there any things that you would advise people on, or is it more you got to get there and test the water kind of thing?
I'll bring up these 2 points. This a DOJ guy, Tommy. This is for your males out there. So this is something to know. This is something on the ground, but I want to get this out there. This DOJ guy told me, he goes, in South America, and I'm sure other places, he was just talking about South America, specifically Colombia, he goes, it's not the women being roofied, it's the guys. And he goes, so you go to these countries, and he was a funny guy. He was kind of older, and he goes, look at me, bro. He goes, I'm a schlub. No hot woman's walking up to me. So immediately they'll walk up to him, and he's like, get out of here, know. But he goes, yeah, the guys are getting roofied, and yeah, they'll steal your wallet or whatever, but a lot of times in business, they're going after proprietary information like your laptop, So understand that you're not that charming, bro. And, if she's way out of your league, there's probably a reason, throwing a real hypnol in there. Besides that, just what we talked about, the Twitters, the social media, see what's happening in the country, how, any message, any early bird State Department message, just like that.
Yeah. Okay. For the inside the United States stuff, is there like a checklist kind of that you can walk through? And I know it's impossible without knowing, like, well, is it a mall? Is it a sporting event? Is it a funeral? Is it a fucking, is it a children's playground? Kind of generically speaking, is there a checklist of anytime you go anywhere, here are the things that you should look for, look out for, pay attention to, things of that nature, whether it's, exits or, fire extinguishers, whatever. Just that you could kind of walk people through that, hey, anytime you go into a place, whether you've been there or not. Here are the kind of the hallmark things that you need to pay attention to and what you should be looking for.
Yeah. So we talk about a lot of stuff. We go through the brain, decision-making, behavioral domains. We fill your brain full of this great information. But it's like, okay, great. How do I, in a violent situation, how do I recall any of this stuff? Well, so I make you really smart, then I got to dumb you back down. So we, again, go back to the rule of threes. So a cluster of threes. So establishing a baseline. So let's say you're going to a mall. You want to use cluster. So uncomfortable or comfortable, dominant or submissive, or interested or uninterested. Those are the three categories. This is how you baseline anomaly quickly. This is how we speed up our decision making. So what does that mean? Let's say I'm going to a mall. So should be people be generally comfortable or uncomfortable in a mall?
Comfortable.
Generally paying attention or not paying attention to their surroundings.
I mean, usually not paying attention.
Usually not paying. So comfortable, usually not paying. Is there anything overtly dominant about what they're doing, or is it usually kind of submissive or passive?
Yeah, more submissive.
It's more submissive, passive. So comfortable, submissive, passive, not paying attention. So boom. I'm not talking about specific this behavior, that behavior. Just classify it with those. Can you look at someone and go comfortable, and now you can establish baselines, and those anomalies pop out much quicker. Okay. Yeah. So that's why I fill your brain in with all the smart stuff. Then I give you the clusters, and this is how you speed up your decision making.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's say hypothetically you're at the mall and somebody fits two or all three of those categories. And you're like, something is not fucking right. Obviously, it's going to depend on the person. Whatever. Do you have a general guideline? Do you pay attention to them? Do you try to get away from them? Do you what is your course of action at that point?
Yep. Like you said, Mike, it depends on it definitely mindset, but also depends on your billet. Okay, or if your decision is going to be different from a cop or a fireman or a civilian or
a general asshole like me that's looking for.
I wasn't going to say that, but
we're all thinking it. It's fine.
So. Baseline plus anomaly equals decision. Okay, so that's another threes. You see patterns here. So once you've established a baseline and you've spotted an anomaly, I don't know how or I don't know what the decision is going to be, but you need to make a decision and act. You have to. Okay, is it run, hide, fight? Okay, do that. If you're a cop, maybe contact them or whatever, but you have to. That's my biggest disconnect. Like I've taught soft guys, I've taught every secret squirrel color you can think of. I taught civilians in synagogues and churches, and all these people, all these different people, the biggest disconnect is what I just said. They establish baselines, they spot anomalies, no problem, but they don't do anything. In the military, they want to get on the radio.
Yeah.
Hey, team leader. Hey, boss, I got something here, Civilians, they just want to call police or whatever. So that's my biggest thing is you have to act. It might look ugly. It probably will look ugly. But the 70% solution right now is way better than that 100% solution too late, with that comeback you ever said something so snidey.
I wish I had said this.
Yeah, damn it,
Yeah.
So that's my biggest disconnect. Once you've established a baseline and you have an anomaly, you have to decide. You have to do something.
Yeah. Do you cover much or have a significant opinion on the physical characteristics of when you, like, let's say you're at this mall, how much attention are you paying to exits, to,
yes,
security, to cameras, to, how busy it is or not, or, fire hazard, I mean, shit like that, like the physical characteristics of the place and A, are you paying close attention to that shit? B, if you are, what are some things that you would recommend people, at a minimum are kind of paying attention to?
Yeah. So, I talk about the behavioral indicators and they're mostly focused on behavior, but there are definitely environmental factors you want to look out for. Specifically, we talk about, how people treat the areas around their geographics, what we call it. So, if you came to a neighborhood and let's say you go to a cul-de-sac, you got a cul-de-sac. Got a ring of houses around this cul-de-sac, 10 of them. 9 of those houses are all beat up. There's cars out in the front yard in the center block, the lawn's mowed, there's 9 newspapers in the front, and then the 10th house is pristine. It's nice manicured lawn, whatever. That just that right there. What would that tell you about the rest of the houses and that person right there? If you had to go to anybody in that neighborhood for some information, who would you probably want to go to? Yeah. Someone takes pride in whatever they're so things of that nature. Other environmental factors like atmospheric shifts. So I'm looking at specific behavior, but we could be in like a party and something happens or violence or something, there's going to be atmospheric shifts. So it might not be overt as like a violent threat, but you need to start looking because atmospheric shifts are caused by anomalies. There was a Afghanistan one where the Marines had rolled in after the Taliban had controlled this area for like months. The Marines roll in and it was like a Western. Everything's shuttered. There's dust blowing. No one's there. Month later, what do you have? A couple stores opening up. So this is a longer period. And then the third month, everybody's back in business. That was an atmospheric shift, a good one. Okay, cool. There can be bad atmospheric shifts depending on your environment. So look for those when you throw a rock in the pond, what happens? It creates a ripple effects and the palm frond. You have these third order effects. So your atmospheric domain is kind of where you look at that. So
from a casual, civilian observer standpoint, if you walk into, say, a restaurant, a shopping mall, how much attention are you paying to exits and other outside of kind of what you've already covered, like I said, the physical kind of characteristics? How much attention and what are you paying attention to?
Yeah, honestly, it's step one. With the exits and the cameras and all that stuff. That's like for how deep we're going. That has to be step one. So I honestly don't spend that much time because honestly, Mike, there's a million places you can go to. Martial arts or the physical stuff. But I try to focus on the really specific behaviorals. We definitely talk about having that plan and having that exit routes.
Yeah.
But I really focus on those behaviors.
Yeah. Well, that leads me into Emergence, which is the company that you founded. Talk to us about what you provide and offer and what you do and who you've trained. And you've talked a little bit about it already, but kind of give the elevator pitch, if you will.
Sure, yeah. So I started Emergence probably 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years ago, when I just saw such a need for this stuff. So, I'd been trained in the military and I'd done some cops at that point, but the tempo was high. Everyone was deploying, So I was kind of buried in that for 10 years. And then I pop out the other side, deployments are winding down and all these active shooter events, all this horrible stuff's happening. It's like, hey, our people need this. Marines need it, people deploying to combat zones need, but our mom and pop need this stuff, So that's what really spurred me on to start. So I started doing a bunch of live training. That's great. And I'm still doing live training, but recently we've gone online about a year ago. So all our training is all provided online. It's all self-paced and it's all in modules. And my goal basically is to train, this year's goal is to train 1 million Americans. Okay. Mm-hmm. If I can train 1 million Americans, what do you think in the skills we just talked about, being cunning, being aware of the barrier, what do you think that can do to our crime statistics? You think it'd make a difference?
For sure it would.
Yeah. Am I gonna solve all the crime in the world? No. But we can put a dent in it. And then when I got 1 million trained, now I'm gonna go train 2 million. Yeah. So that's what we do now.
Yeah, I got you. Can you list the different courses that is it just that one course, or do you do multiple different?
That's our main course. That's like our capstone course. We have a couple of different modules we can add in there, but our main capstone course is the instructor course. There's only one of me. Yeah. And I've been doing it for 3 years, killing myself, 4 years running around killing myself, but I needed to replicate me. So that's why I built the instructor course. And if you've ever taken anything in the military, it's just like that. There's a progression to it because my ulterior motive, or my only motive, is I want to motivate people to go out and instruct this stuff, and they build a business, kind of a side hustle or a full-blown business. We have a lot of instructors teaching all over America and UK, Canada, a bunch of different places, these skills and making people safer and generating revenue. So that's the whole thing. Because if I can make you money by selling this instructor course, by teaching this to our communities, our churches, you're going to teach more.
Is it like a franchise kind of thing? Or?
No, not at all. Okay, yeah, people think they always ask it's a franchise. You don't work for us. You're not an agent of us. This is a product for you. Yeah. You slap your logo on the SAFE training program. It stands for Situational Awareness for Employees. Yeah. And why I named it as, you go out and attack these organizations that really need this stuff, Mike. Like, we need this stuff in the service. Cops need this stuff, absolutely. But at least we had some type of training. Yeah. At least someone one day said complacency kills, whereas most of the population has nothing to go with.
Yeah. Are there other courses, or is it just the instructor?
It's just the other instructor course right now.
How long is it? Or, is it an hour, many hours? Or what?
It's pretty robust. It's 9 modules. I have to make you an instructor. Yeah. So we get on the phone, like, you have to be vetted, and I got to know what you're talking about because it's deep stuff. It's in 9 modules. There's video training. There's academic references. There's student handouts and guides. So it's pretty robust. On top of you're part of a private Facebook community. Mm-hmm. So that's our water cooler. That's where instructors will jump in and go, hey, I got a gig over here. I need help with this. And we'll kind of chat it out.
Is it something where ultimately you're kind of the gatekeeper in terms of certification? Like, before they get the ominous dominus, you're an instructor that, like, they've got to, is it like a test and a proficiency thing, and then you ultimately talk with them and say, okay, yeah, you have my blessing, you're an instructor. Is that kind of
base and more structured? Yeah, we definitely have it structured. And so we'd come in, we hammer your head with the behavioral domains, the situational awareness, all that, and then we train you show you how to conduct these live events. There's some hidden movements that you don't really think about, and then you get your certificate, and I sign off, and you have your certificate. That opens up the business module. So it's like, okay, cool, I got all this whiz-bang training that I'm really excited. How do I, get out there and get in front of people? Yeah. Mike, the military gave us a lot of good, characteristics to get into business, but it gave us a lot of horrible ones too. A lot of things that you don't, think about.
No, for sure. So, I've been learning the hard way for 12 fucking years.
Yeah. And I still keep going. I just love the hard way, apparently.
No, I know it. I'm tracking. Slam your nuts in the door over and over.
And it's funny because 99% of the instructors are all vets.
Yeah.
It's like they hear the message, they're like, yeah, okay, I like this.
Do you still go around and do in-person trainings and seminars and stuff? And what does that look like? Yeah,
so I really kind of dialed that down just to focus on the instructor program. I got over 300 of my instructors running around the world right now, so I really want to support them as much as I can. But yeah, I've been all over the place. A lot of I teach in the FBI InfraGard program for the Los Angeles Fields office over there. They got InfraGards everywhere, so they keep me busy with a lot of synagogues, professional organizations, churches. Just a greater LA area. I'll run around with them.
So when you go do those, let's say you spend, is it a couple hours a day, an afternoon?
It's a half day for the FBI ones, yep.
Mm-hmm. So you go to a synagogue. What does that half day look like?
So basically, more detailed version of what we've been talking about. I start them out. I give the 4-hour progression. I give brain, speeding up decision making, behavioral domains, and then I get them motivated at the end because there's just so many people scared out there. They're so scared. It's like when you're scared, you make bad decisions. So let's build some confidence and get them out there. It's like it's bad. Yeah, it's not that bad. Yeah, you're going to be okay.
No, I'm tracking. Mm-hmm. For people that want to bring you in to do something like that, how do they get a hold of you?
You can reach me on our Facebook group, and I'll obviously have a link for that. Facebook group is the best, but it's like catch me if you can.
Yeah. Is there, do you have a website that people can go to?
Yeah, so www.emergencedisrupt.com. Okay. We're updating that right now, so it looks great, and it's looking even better. So we have our private Facebook group on Emergence. We actually have an open public one for any of your listeners to join. It doesn't cost anything. It's called a threat detection group on Facebook. So just Google threat detection group, and it'll pop up. There's almost 8,000 members in there, and that's where I'll just drop content in there. I'll work out ideas. I might have a content idea like, hey, what do you think of this? And I'll drop in the group, and everyone's like, yeah, that sucks, or no, that was good, So we'll just have it, and it doesn't cost anything.
Do you kick the people out that say that it sucked?
Yeah. Immediately.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
Yes, I do have a YouTube channel. We're this year we're starting to drop stuff on it, like next month. Yeah. There's some stuff on there, so definitely find me on YouTube, Emergence or Yousef Badou. The only Yousef Badou Marine out there.
Strangely enough.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
That's such a common name for Marines, but anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, Mike. Thanks for having me out here. I think we made some difference. If your listeners like what I'm saying, maybe they don't exactly like, man, that sounded good. Please do your research. I don't care if you ever look at me or go to my website or anything. Do your research. There's so much information out there. There's so many usable skills that can keep our community safe that you can use out there. I got this training after all my deployments, okay? Yeah. And when I got this training, I was in the back, everyone's smiling and chuckling, and now like, oh, it was awesome training. I was in the back shaking my head pissed because I never got this. This could have brought my friends home. Yeah. So that was a shitty feeling. Yeah. And that's part of the passion that really keeps me going. If I can help it, I never want anybody else to have that feeling. Yeah. Would you I'm sure there's something there in your life and your career, Mike, that, damn, I wish I could have had that second back.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's plenty of them. Yep. And to me, this has been fascinating. And one of the reasons why, I was really interested in having you on is just that, thinking of a lot of the parallels that exist between the things that you're talking about. All of dog training really boils down to so many of the same things that you're talking about. Is that there's normal behavior for dogs, and then there's abnormal behavior. And when you see dogs do certain things that don't fit, there is an importance as to the why, because that's generally how you fix it. And most of dog training is about fixing behavioral problems or behavioral modification. It's not necessarily completely fucking absolutely necessary, but it's a very important component to it. But my point is that, you know, so much of my day to day is not saying a fucking word, and watching what a dog is doing, and you know, the more time you spend with dogs, the more you learn, you know, the things that they do and their responses to certain stimuli, and so when you see something that doesn't add up, and it's like, well, wait a minute, why the fuck is he doing that? Or you get to a point, I think probably similarly to kind of where you're at, is that it all makes sense, is that, you know, even if it stands out, I still know why they're doing it, and I know how to fix it, or you know, you can identify like, oh, he's doing this because of that, you know, that's when the mastery or the subject matter expertise kind of starts to be implementable, if that's a fucking word.
It is today.
You know, is that, you know, once you understand that, you know, it's not just a baffling, holy shit, that's totally out of place, I wonder what the fuck, you know, now it's like, yeah, it's out of place, but here's why it's out of place, and here's why they're probably doing it, and whatever. And so to me, there's just such a neat parallel. I love having guests on that their line of work as it relates to human beings is very specific, but has a direct parallel to dog training, which this obviously and absolutely does. So it's certainly been refreshing for me to hear a lot of your ideas on things, and shedding some light on some perspective, and I appreciate you taking the time to come out here. So thank you.
No, thank you, Mike. Thank you for the invite, and this has been fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my pleasure. I would like to take a minute to thank Origin Labs. Jocko Fuel, the sponsor of the podcast, they've been a consummate supporter for a long time now. The Jocko Fuel stuff, he's got a ton of different products. Origin Labs does as well. They also make gis, boots, jeans that I'm actually wearing a pair right now. They do massage your ass. Great company, though. They really are. I mean, they go above and beyond, you know, doing it the right way. They make everything here in the United States. Extremely fucking supportive of veterans and veteran families. And just kind of bringing the industry back to the United States the way that it should be in all of what they do. It's a really remarkable company, and I'm humbled and honored to have their sponsorship and support. So Jocko Fuel, Origin Labs, kicking ass. Thanks to them as always.
I'd also like to say thank you to our other sponsor, Resilience Premium CBD. Resilience is excited to offer all Mic Drop listeners a 20% off discount on all products for 2 weeks from when this podcast is live, using the discount code MicDrop at checkout. I'd also like to say that Resilience, a great company that works in conjunction with Trico CBD, and all military veterans and first responders receive 35% off, and that's always through the military and first responders program. You just have to sign up to get verified at resilientcbd.com/military and first responder discount. In terms of about Resilience, it's a premium CBD that I use. Again, it's works in conjunction with the Tricos brand. For the everyday athlete. It's www.resilientcbd.com. And Resilience was born when its founders, who are U.S. military veterans as well, personally experienced the effects and impact that CBD had on their own mental and physical obstacles. The focus was sharper, mental stress was calmed, fitness stamina was increased, and their bodies felt less pain and inflammation after super intense workouts. A lot of times, most times, people are able to either wean off entirely or significantly reduce pain management therapy. And this shared vision among the founders was that this incredible supplement had not only changed their life, but had the power to provide unbelievable benefits to family, friends, athletes, fellow veterans, and ultimately the entire fitness community. So big shout out to Resilience for their product, as well as, again, the Trico stuff. And we appreciate their support.
For you guys out there, you know, as always, I just want to say thank you for your support. Without you guys, we would not have the show. I'm routinely humbled by how many people tune in and the messages of support I get, and you know, the rankings on iTunes and downloads and all that stuff. So thank you guys for paying attention month after month. We appreciate the hell out of you. If I haven't said so by now, go choke yourself. And until next time, this is Mic Drop.